if you're not comfortable doing that, you might want to just get out a pen and pencil and just take some notes of what you're going to need to do when you get to school tomorrow or when you're ready to set it all up, because that's really what we're going to be dealing with. So we have Laura Van Staden, we have Christina Finn, and we have Michelle Thomas King here. I am here with Paula Haggerty, who is our Assistant Executive Director. We will be looking at your questions and helping with the Q&A towards the back end of our training. With that, I'm going to let the ladies take over. And remember, slow and steady is going to win this race. And we want everybody to make sure that they become Canvas experts. We don't expect you to be an expert tonight. We just expect to get you your training wheels on, and so that way you're moving the bike in the right direction. Correct, ladies?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Rob, can you enable screen sharing for me, please? It is disabled for
yes.
me. Thank you.
And then you'll need to do it for the rest of us as well.
Very good. See, I'm learning as I go too.
See, we may be Canvas experts, but we're not Zoom experts.
Oh, I got
No,
it.
I'm not.
Thanks, Rob. All over
You're
it.
very welcome.
Got it.
All right.
All right. Laura, you're on.
All right. So tonight, what we're really going to look at is we're really just looking at being able to log into Canvas through Clever or by using the direct link, how to edit your profile settings and notifications, which is part of global navigation. We're going to look at the global navigation menu, which is that menu on the far left. We're going to look at the dashboard, and we're going to look at the sidebar. And then you're going to find your sandbox and update your course settings and navigation. And then we're going to help you find, navigate, and understand the purpose of the comments, and maybe even find a couple things that you like in the comments. And then that will probably be all the time that we have tonight. And then we're going to have lots of times to break and practice, and also times to answer questions for you. So, you know, that's probably going to take up our time. And then, like Rob said, we're going to be offering other courses that will go into developing the modules and the various other things. Okay. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do if you're going to have Canvas up at the same time, one of the things I heard from teachers was that having to flip back and forth between two windows was they couldn't see the Zoom and be in the Canvas at the same time. So if you don't know how to split your screen, we're going to talk to you real quickly about how to do that. The first thing that you'll want to do if you are in full screen mode with Zoom, if you go up near the top and hover, you're going to have something that says speaker view, what kind of view you're in. And then you can change that so that it's not full screen. Once you've done that, if you're on a Windows machine, you simply grab the top bar and slide it all the way over to either the left or the right. And then it will take up half your screen. Then you'll have a choice of what to put on the other half of the screen. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that now and put your Zoom window on half of your screen and put your Canvas window on the other half of your screen, then we'll give you just a moment to do that.
Okay, they're saying that they can't see what you're doing.
Correct, because I am not shared. I was just describing, because you can only share one window, and it would take sharing my desktop, which I don't think I can share just the desktop.
Okay.
So that's the reason I didn't share on that. But if you'd like me to talk you through it one more time, you just grab that very top strip of your window and go all the way to the left or all the way to the right till your pointer hits the side, and you'll see it kind of make a little outline, and release it. And that will give you half screen. And then it will give you, if you're on a Windows machine, it will give you an option of what to put on the other side. It actually just brings up all of your open things, and you just click on it. Macintosh is very similar. On a Macintosh, you would take the full screen button, click it and hold it until your screen, half of your screen turns blue, and then move it either to the left or the right, whichever side you want that particular one to be on. And then you would, from there, again, have a choice of what's going to be on your other screen. And so Michelle has gone ahead and split screened hers, and she is showing you what it looks like once it is split screened. And so again, we'll give you about 1 more minute to do that. And then I will share my screen in just a moment, Michelle, to do the account. Thank you.
And I hope that visual helped. I tried to do it as slow as I could.
Yeah, well, the problem is that you can only see one of the windows. Whichever window you pick to share is the only window that you can see. So that being all that you could see. All right, so once you go, you're going to now log into Canvas on the other half of your screen from your Zoom. I'm already logged in right here. If you go through Clever, it will take you directly to your dashboard when you click on the Canvas icon. Can you guys see my screen now that has 2 icons? Or are you still seeing the other screen?
They're saying yes.
Okay, cool. Because sometimes it works where you can see when I switch tabs and sometimes it doesn't. So if you log in with either a link to join a class, or if you log in by using the sdhc.instructure.com web address to go to, you're now going to be greeted with a screen. Yesterday, when you did this in Professional Study Day, there were 2 icons, one that was virtual school and one that was Hillsborough County Schools. Today, there are 4. It's okay. One is for staff and students. This would be where you would log in. One is for parents of Hillsborough County K-12 students. One is for our technical college centers. And one is for our private and charter schools that are associated with our district. So you would click on the Canvas staff and students. If you're logging directly in through the Canvas site, if you log in through Clever, you're already logged in. So when you click on Canvas, it takes you directly to your dashboard. Which is where I am now. Okay.
And Laura, can you give that website again one more time, just in case anybody missed it, or like highlight it? I see it on your dashboard right above the word dashboard.
Right up here in the top, you'll see it's sdhc.instructure.com. And I will tell you honestly, for me, I like to put a shortcut right on my desktop for this. And you can do that by simply coming over to where this lock is and right clicking. I'm not going to do it because I already have a shortcut. Right clicking on that. And one of your options will be to create a shortcut. Should be. It's not right this second, probably because I am sharing my screen. But normally you will get a choice of making that a shortcut. The other way to do it is to click and hold on that and drag it onto your desktop. That will also create a shortcut. So just give you a little few extra ways to get there. You can always log in through Clever. All right, are we good? Are we ready to move on to our account? I'm not seeing responses because I'm sharing my screen.
It is, we're getting a combination of yes, 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 yes. Looks like everybody is in, and I have been putting in the link, the address in as everyone's asking, so they have it. But yes, you can go through Clever as an alternative way of accessing Canvas. That's probably the way we'll be telling our students to do it. We're just trying to show you as an instructor, as a teacher, a faster way of doing it, less clicks.
Correct. Yeah, because Clever's not even one of those buttons that's on the front of EdConnect, right? So you have to log into EdConnect to get to the link, to get to Clever, then you got to log into Clever, then you got to pick Canvas to get there. So this way, if you make the shortcut, it's one click and you're there. All right, so we're going to go ahead over here to this far left-hand side. This left-hand tray right here is called Global Navigation. And just a point of interest, in case you never knew it, this little school district symbol is called the Lamp of Learning. Just a little tidbit there. So we're going to click into Account. And when you do that, you'll notice that a little sideboard pops out. I haven't set up my picture yet because I'm going to do that with you tonight so that you can see exactly how to do that. You can log out right from here. It will auto log you out after a certain amount of time. It's a fairly decent amount of time. And honestly, I was a pilot teacher. So when we were in e-learning, I used Canvas with my students, all of e-learning, and I never logged out. I just stayed logged in the whole time. Obviously, if you're not on your own machine or you're not in a machine that you feel safe with it being open, then you should log out or, at least lock your computer. So the first item here is notifications. So we're going to click on notifications and you will notice a whole bunch of choices for a whole bunch of things here. So this is check mark, means notify me right away. That means as soon as the action happens, you will get an email to your school district email address with the comment that has happened. They can also send a daily summary, a weekly summary, or yeah, I don't need to know about that. So as you go down, and it's quite a lengthy list, and I'm going to give you a moment to do this in just a moment. So notice that I have different ones. I don't want to get a notification every time I change the course content. I changed the course content. I know I changed the course content. I don't need you to send me an email telling me I changed the course content. Okay? If you prefer to have that, then turn it on at whatever frequency you would like. Same thing for uploading files. And you'll notice when I hover and I go over right up to where the word is, it tells you exactly what it is that's underneath there that you're turning on or off at various settings. Okay? So it's really nice that way. This little box down here that I have checked that says include scores when alerting about grades, this would be for courses that you're enrolled as a student. And what that will do is it won't just send you the notification, it will also send you the grade within the notification. Now your students are going to have many of these same, they won't have all of them, but they will have many of the same choices that you do in terms of how they get notifications, as will parents, although they don't have an email. So I think it's just going to be parents that are really getting that. They get notifications within Canvas when something is graded. Okay, so as you scroll down, I mean, you can see there are quite a lot of things that you can get notifications for or not.
And I want to interject here and say that many of you probably got a ton of notifications yesterday when you were doing your PSD, your various PSD courses, because as the course teachers, the people that were teachers in the course graded items, because your settings are automatically set by default, if you never change them, to send you your grades in courses, you probably got a ton of emails to your inbox. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. If you don't want to receive them every time immediately as they send it, maybe you want a summary at the end of the day or a summary at the end of the week, then you definitely want to check those boxes on stuff like grading or, discussion replies, that type of stuff. But remember, it also, holds true for your courses as well. So if you post a discussion post, seeing the students' discussion replies, it would notify you for those as well. So maybe you want a weekly summary, because if it's a graded discussion post, you're going to go in there and grade it at some point, so you'll know they posted it. But that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Although if you have middle schoolers, you may want to check a little more often than weekly. So, but it does record, it records their name and everything. So they don't have anonymity. I mean, you know exactly who posted. They have to be logged in order to post into your discussion So, I mean, you want to monitor that, but like I had mine set for once a day on discussion posts. And then that way I just scan them every day, make sure that, you know, everything's headed the way that I want it to. And if not, I can post something into the discussion as well.
So whoever's running the screen, can you scroll up to the very top? There was a question about what the symbols represented.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, so if you notice that the check mark, it means notify you right away. And that's when you got all those emails probably yesterday as you guys were all doing your PDs. The clock means it sends daily summaries, and that usually happens at the end of the day. So you go all day and then at the end of the day. The weekly summary goes out on Friday, I think, after 4 p.m., which is the calendar. And then the one I kind of like the best is the X. Don't send me anything.
Yeah.
So those are the notifications. And one thing about the notifications is that it changes automatically. So if you change it right now, it will be effective immediately. So that's the great thing about it. Just know that that's not something you got to wait until it refreshes, or you have to wait until the end of the day for it to take place. It's boom. Once you change it, it affects.
And remember, this is on global navigation. So this is going to affect everything that's in global navigation, affects all of your courses. Later on, when we get into the sandbox, we're going to talk about some settings that only affect individual things that you can set at an individual course level. But these are global notifications. So they apply to every course. So I'm going to go ahead and give about a minute or so for you to go ahead and scroll through those and make some choices. You can go back and change them at any time. It's always there, no pressure.
And remember
So-
that the icons are up at the top in case
Yep.
you ever forget. It tells you exactly what each little thing means on the corner.
So
Canvas is really great about, like I said, you hover over where it says due date, it tells you exactly what that is. And it's really great throughout the entire course that you can either a sidebar comes out that gives you an explanation, or you hover and all of the information is there. So once you get to using Canvas, it's really, really user friendly. I know a lot of people were very overwhelmed with a 6-hour training because they tried to teach you everything about Canvas in 6 hours. Canvas does so much. 6 hours is, I mean, it's flying like anything, okay? But it's really not hard to use. And as you start using it, you're going to be like, oh, this is really great. Okay. Everybody that I've got using it, you know, that I've worked with, they just love it. Okay. So you will get to that point. It's just going to take, you know, just go slow and steady. All right. No worries about it.
all right, so let's answer some of these questions. We reviewed the symbols that were there. It says, Melissa asked, what do you recommend for settings? It is all by your own preference. I think as Laura explained, it depends on what you're doing. I really don't ever want to know, like for under announcements created by you, I don't need to have them notifying me on that one because I created it. So I would have that one as an X'd out. However, I would have the announcements immediately because that's also going to be, Canvas is also going to be used as your platform for the district and your school. So if your district sends something out or the school sends something out, you want to be notified immediately that there's an announcement. It's also good for the students because then they'll get those notifications as well. So like Edsby would have those notifications as you logged in, this is taking the replacement, but you can't go anywhere because it's going to blast it at you. Maybe the first couple weeks, after that, you'll see what you want, what you don't want, and you can, like I said, you can move it around as you wish. Rachel says, are all the notifications in the course activities for the course in which you are a student or both? I think, Laura, you explained that under the global navigation, it's for everything. And then under the course, you can go through it and specifically do it. Let's see here. Kimberly says, what notifications do you suggest for a kindergarten teacher? Again, it's going to be, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be getting that many kiddos texting you, but you may get a lot of parents that first couple weeks of e-learning, if that's where we go, or if you're an e-learning teacher. Personally, I would have those notifications like for emails and stuff.
Conversations.
For conversations instantly. so that you are, especially with our moms and our moms and dads of little ones, they need those answers right away. And so they're going to need that extra support if you can provide it.
And I found that really, really useful for my students as well in middle school. So I have these two set to immediate. So if I'm added to a conversation or a message that they send me, I get an immediate notification just like you would with Edsby. But if I created it, you don't need to send me a message. I created it. I know I created it.
Right. Christy says, email is our Lawson number listed. Yes. Hopefully Hillsborough and Canvas will get together and realize that we should be able to put our names in, because that is an option with Canvas, but with Hillsborough at this time, if you want to add somebody, our emails are our Lawson number, but when it comes to you, it comes up as your regular email.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that Lawson number at hcps.net actually forwards to your sdhc.k12, that long one. It forwards to that email. So you could technically email your Lawson number at hcps.net and it would forward to your ideas email.
Yes.
Okay.
For at least as long as we have ideas, right?
Right. So Angela, we're going to have to ask you to go back in. She said she needed clarification on the last two questions. So if you could tell us what those clarifications were, because that was like a couple minutes ago, we can answer it. Marion wanted to know were the settings already set by district. There's a default. Like everything we have with computers, there's a default. You can go in and change it. I think we answered that one. So we can call about that later. What is a little blue box under grading for again?
Okay, so that's where things where I'm a student in the course. So this includes the scores when I get a grade alert. So in other words, it's going to send me an email that's going to include my grade. Well, if your email is outside of the institution, outside of school district, which it's not for us, then that means that it might be open to other people, right? Google is notorious for collecting information from accounts. And so, presumably you might lose a little bit of privacy if you send your scores along with the alert that says it's graded. Otherwise, if you uncheck this box, you just get an alert that says something has been graded for you and you go into Canvas to see it. If you have that box checked, when it sends you the alert, you get the alert that it was graded along with what the grade was.
Which for students is a good thing. They can know right away. Jennifer says, if you do this session, do you still need to do self-pace? My personal opinion, I say yes, because you can you want that extra practice. We've got the time. The better you know how to maneuver it. Once you get the basics of it, then you can start having a lot of fun. So I recommend do both, because what we don't cover, they will cover. What they cover, what they don't cover, you can come back and say, I don't understand, and we can provide that extra support for you as well.
And what I might suggest too, instead of just doing the self-paced course, which then you're tied into PD, if I go back to my dashboard for just a second, you will notice that I have another title that's called Hillsborough Canvas Teacher's Guide. You can pull this out of the Commons, and this is literally almost the self-paced course, but you're not enrolled in terms of getting PD points for it, but it can stay forever. And then if you need to go back and see global navigation stuff, there's a link right there. It'll take you into modules for global navigation. So that might be a good choice too, if you don't want to be tied into the PD portion of it.
Okay, there was a good question here. I can't even answer it now. It says, Rita said, will Canvas conferences be available? Seems like it works similar to Zoom. So why would the district have us use Zoom also?
So
I haven't personally tried that one, so go ahead.
Yeah, they actually, I'm pretty positive the district purchased a license to Zoom. So Canvas conferences are like you can have conferences using different platforms. So your conference could be Big Blue Button, which is the one that comes with Canvas, but you obviously have to pay for it if you want a subscription to have bigger classes. You could conference using Teams if you wanted to, but I'm pretty positive that, you know, from what we were told in various trainings that I've taken, that the district has a subscription, like they have a license to Zoom. So I doubt that they will be using conferences
Correct.
at all, but that's
Who
not
knows?
to say that if Zoom integrates with conferences that you can't set up one using Zoom. I don't know if it does or not, but if it does, then obviously you hopefully should have that capability if it does actually work that way.
And I did watch the school board meeting at which they voted on and approved the purchase of Zoom. So we definitely do have it.
So I just want to address a lot of the questions that are coming through here. They're asking about other things. We were going to cover everything at one point in Canvas. So some of you are jumping ahead, asking questions that are maybe not on the navigational page. We will cover those, just not yet. So if you would like, once we're done with this, we will be more than you. Every school has a Canvas champion as well, who is there to help you and walk along the way. But we will have additional trainings that we will go more in depth with each of the different parts of Canvas. So don't think that we're not answering you. It's just that that's not what we're covering today.
All right, are we ready to move on to profile?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All
And
right.
then we will have time for you guys to kind of mess with your profile and
Yeah.
you know, do different things with settings after we so for this next piece we're going to talk about it, and then after we show you where everything is in the profile, we'll give you some time to go in there and, you know, mess with your profile and change settings if you need to update settings and the picture and all of that stuff. So you'll have a minute to do it before we move on to talking about the rest of the things in the notification panel.
Correct. Okay, so you have a picture here. And it defaults with this picture, right? So you want to put a picture of yourself. You want to make sure that it is a professional picture. This is what's going to be facing to students and to parents. So we want to put our best face forward, so to speak, right? If you click on the pencil, thank you for annotating my screen. If you click on the pencil, you have three choices. Gravatar is an outside source. And that's where you would actually create what they call a gravatar. And you could upload that here. That's a separate software. It's a separate account that you would make and make a gravatar. You can upload a picture that you already have on your desktop, which I'm going to do in just a minute. Or you can take a picture of yourself. And so if you do take a picture, your camera comes on. You see yourself in a picture. Maybe not right now because I'm sharing my screen, because it doesn't like to use my camera for two different operations at the same time. So Canvas and Zoom are both trying to access my camera, so that's why we're not getting a picture here. But normally your face would show up here and you align it however you like, hit click picture, and then save, and boom, your picture is there. If you don't like it, do it again. Upload a picture. This would be one that you already have on your desktop. So choose a picture. And it's going to pull up my desktop, and I have to remember where I put it.
Careful what you pick.
You're right.
And while Laura's looking for her picture, I would recommend using a picture of you, just because, especially if you're doing e-learning, your kids want to know what you look like. Like, they want to know who their teacher is, who this person is that may be emailing with them. You know, like, they want to see your face, especially if, you know, you work at a school where you've been for a little bit, and some of the kids know you, and so they're excited to have you this year. So I would recommend using, instead of maybe an avatar, definitely using a picture with your face. You could use your ID picture if you wanted to, just something so that the kids can see what you look like, because, you know,
Right.
they miss seeing us as much as we miss seeing them.
Right, and it also sets the parameter then for the kids as well, is you want them to put a current picture of them on there, especially with e-learning, because you want to know who they are. You don't want them to be putting up Yu-Gi-Oh pictures or princess pictures, or I'm dating myself as being an elementary teacher, but you don't want those things, because you want to be, you just like you want them, they want to see you, you want to see them.
Okay. Sorry. So I have found my picture on my files, my desktop. Obviously, I have way too much on my desktop. So I have found my picture and I clicked open. There it is. I can change kind of the size on that circle if I want a little bit. Narrow it up. Like it kind of like that. Looks pretty good. And it gives you the instructions right here to crop the image, drag the selection with the mouse, or use the arrow keys to move the selection, and shift plus the arrow keys to resize the selection. So it gives you the directions right here of how to resize or to pick how you want to crop your image. Okay, I like that. I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit save. Boom, now that's my profile. So when students log into a course that has me as their instructor, they will see this picture. Yes, it's an older picture. Okay, do we have any questions on doing your picture? We're gonna give you, once we go through the editing the rest of the profile, then we're gonna give you some time to play with your picture and to change your settings.
Yeah, the one set question that everybody is having is, and I can't even remember what it was, the card that you showed for Canvas with the teacher guide.
Yes.
Could you pull that back up real quick so that everybody can?
And we're going to talk about that too when we get to comments as well. Like when we get to the part where we talk about comments, we're going to talk about it some more so that you actually can go in there and pull that down out of the comments if you want to. So like we're definitely going to come back to that.
Yep. That will be closer towards the end of the evening, but we will be coming to that before we leave you tonight.
Perfect. I went ahead and posted it in there for those who are jumping ahead.
Okay. All right. So now notice my picture changed over here too, right? Now it's got my wonderful little picture. I want to edit my profile. There's a big button over here with a pencil that says edit profile. You can change your name. You can put a title. You can register some other services for them to contact you by. I don't necessarily recommend that personally. I want all my stuff going through the school district where I'm interacting with parents and students.
And also be careful, because if you use any of your personal stuff, if the kids can see it, then the district can see it.
Yep.
So if you don't want them to have it, then you want to go through the district stuff.
Yep. I keep my personal life completely separate from my district life, okay? I have no life outside the district, but I keep the two separate. You can put a little blurb about yourself in the biography box. And then if you had links, like some of us still have pages, like web pages, teacher web pages and so forth, that you want them to be able to link to, you can put a title for it and the URL here. And then those will also show up, and those will be, again, visible to parents and to students. So I haven't put anything there, but again, personal preference. And then simply save profile. Okay, so we're going to give you a few minutes to play with your picture and edit your profile. And I'm going to stop sharing just momentarily. We will come back to these other 4 right here, but they're pretty brief. We'll come back to those in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to momentarily stop sharing so I can help with the questions.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so there was a question about being able to log in. I wanted to be sure that for the people that still can't log in, probably the fastest way to do it is to go through Clever, because it will take you directly to the login page that you need. Actually, I think it takes you directly to your dashboard and signs you in all at once. If you're going to use the website, it's sdhc.instructure.com. And your username is going to be your Lawson number. Your password is going to be your district password. So the username is your Lawson number always to log into any of those like Office 365 or log into Canvas, your password is going to be your district password.
So another question here about checking that grading box on the notifications. When would you ever be a student in a course? So professional study day, you were a student in the course. Annual
And,
requirements,
yep.
you're a student in the course.
If your school
Any of
does
the other-
PD
Yep,
and
any
you
of the other
and your school creates a
PD,
course, you would probably be a student in the course. Probably in your school's Canvas course, you'd most likely be a student in the course.
Yep. And there is, and we can show it later on when we get there or in another session, there is, if you are within a course and you then go to either the home or the setting where you can do the student view, and you can actually view assignments, complete assignments, and upload assignments exactly as the students would. And then you can see how that comes through on the teacher side, and you can grade your own work and send yourself feedback, and then go look at it from the student side again and see what that looks like. So it's really beautiful the way that they have the interface between the student and the teacher side for us, so that you can really see all of the pieces of it.
And someone asked earlier, I think it was Lynn. I just wanted to put it back up, the slide about what we're covering today. So right now we're on the second check mark with editing profiles. Also earlier, someone asked about setting up home pages. So we are not covering how to set up your homepage today, because that by itself
Is a
is
3-hour
its
training.
own 3 hours to
Yep.
go through all of the steps that are required to create a homepage. But if you guys want an entire session about just creating the homepage, they gave instructions. They're a little bit hard to follow, but if that's something you guys are interested in, definitely let Rob and Paula know about it, and that could definitely be something that we set up for how to make your homepage, because that by itself is its own 3-hour session.
Yes. We know tonight is nothing more than an introduction, making sure you can sign in and knowing how to set your settings for your course and how to get stuff out of the Commons. After that, the modules and all the rest of the stuff, the grading and all of that, those are entire 3-hour or more sessions. And so, the whole idea behind tonight was that teachers were really asking for that slowed down version where it's not 100 miles an hour, that we're going to cover everything in Canvas in 6 hours. So we're not covering everything. We're covering a little tiny piece so that we can cover it and you can feel comfortable.
Yep, this is like the bare, like, in order for you to get started, what do I need to know to even use Canvas in the first place? If there's other things that you guys are interested in, like Laura said, definitely let Rob and Paula know, and they will set up, more things in the future that, we can come in and help you guys with. But like today is just like the minimum. How do I even get on Canvas in the first place?
So one question that keeps on coming up, or they're saying, is their bibliography and things are not opening up? You have to click in the upper right-hand corner. It says edit profile. You have to click on that first, and then that will allow you to make all the changes. Always click that edit button first. Yep. You want to so there are times, right there at the top right-hand corner, it says edit profile. You click there, and then it'll allow you to change everything that you need.
And I just want to reiterate that you guys are doing a great job. We're going slow and steady tonight. We are just introducing everyone to Canvas. We know that you guys have had a lot of things downloaded on your own brain from Monday already through today. So we're going slow and steady so that way everybody can set up their Canvas. We will have other Canvas trainings. We will repeat intro to Canvas so that way everybody can understand all the features, but we're just making sure that all of our members have the ability to get in and get set up. So I'll let you guys get back to it. You're doing great. Thank you.
And Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, you're recording this, so there'll be a recording link available as well?
We are, and it will be, yes.
Okay, so just
Laura, can you go back up a little bit? I'm gonna circle the place where the button is that they can click to edit their profile real quick.
There you go.
Right there.
So you click on account, and then on profile, and then on edit profile. And then all of your stuff is open for you. It's not too much. And then just after you make any changes, remember to save.
Yes, please don't forget to save, because we have all been there where we did all this work and did everything and then clicked out of it because you forgot to save, and then you have to do it over again. So
Gosh,
don't
no,
forget
we've
to
been
save.
there.
Oh, been there, done that.
Canvas is really good too about giving you warnings, especially like in your modules and your assignments when you create them. If you don't save, when you go to exit, it says, are you sure you want to leave? Because you're going to lose all this.
Mm-hmm.
So Canvas is really pretty good about that. All right, are we good to move ahead and go through these other ones? Or do we need another minute or two on profile yet?
Laura, I think you can do
I
settings,
think you
and
can
then after settings, after settings and some of the other ones, we can probably come back and
Yeah, I'm
give
just
a
going
little
to
bit of
talk.
time to
I'm
do
just
those
going to
ones.
talk through these just so they know what they are. There's really not much you're going to do with these. Files, you don't really need to worry about unless you're specifically looking for something. Yours is going to be empty because you have not uploaded any files into your courses yet. Remember, I use Canvas with students, so I have all kinds of files that are already uploaded from my courses. I can find them right here. I can also find them within the course. I can upload from here directly, or I can upload them right within the module where I'm about to place them and use them, which is how I did it. Okay? Notice that as much stuff as I have in here, and I have a ton of stuff, notice that I'm not using any percent of what I'm allowed. So if I go down here, like to this one, and I open up this course, you will see that within this course, there are a ton of documents and videos that I have uploaded just within that one course. And yet I'm using very, very small amount of what my space is. Okay, so don't worry
you
about
can do
uploading
folders
files.
too. For the
I'm
people
sorry?
that like, I was gonna say, and you can do folders too for the people that like folders.
Yep.
Like to keep stuff organized. You can add folders and put your things in folders. Another awesome feature that Files has is if you zip your file, like if you zip your folder that has all of your documents in it, and you want to just put all of your course documents from a folder you already have in here, if you zip it, you can actually drag the zip file into your files, and Canvas will unlock it, and from what I understand, it will keep your folder structure when it unzips it, and it will put the whole thing in your files with the folder structure that it had before you zipped it. So that's another pretty cool feature if you already have files full of documents that you just want to put in there to make it easy.
Correct. So you don't have to do anything with that. You can upload your files there. You can upload your files other places within Canvas, within your course as you're building it, and they will show up there in your files. I'm going to skip settings for just a second. ePortfolios, it gives you the description right here, exactly what you would use it for and how you would use it. And then you just click create a new ePortfolio. This is a place where you can make a portfolio of samples of things. And that becomes your ePortfolio. Again, remember this is global, so you can grab from across courses. Shared content. Right now, there is not direct sharing. There's only sharing through the Commons. And so you're not going to have received any content because everything that's shared is being shared through the Commons.
You actually can share with people if you have their information. So like, let's say, so if you want to share a page, because I've shared a couple of pages with some of my team members. So let's say you created a page in like your sandbox or in a course and you want to share it with someone else. If you can click on that page within your sandbox, which that could be something we talk about, you know, if we do another session and we talk about modules, you can actually share pages to people, because I've shared a couple pages already.
I think they turned that off, Michelle.
They turned it off?
I think so, because it was the send feature on those 3 dots, and that's no longer there.
Interesting.
Your only choices now are to put it in the Commons. And I called and asked them the other day because I wanted to direct share something with someone. And I called and asked them the other day, and they said the only way you can do it is through the Commons. So I think they've turned that feature off.
Very interesting.
At least for now.
Must have adjusted that this week.
Yeah, at least for now.
Fair
okay,
enough.
and then if we go into settings, you're not probably going to want to change a lot of this. It's going to show up. These are the things that you had on your other page, was your full name and your display name. Again, there's an edit settings button. You do not want to change the email address from your lawson@hcps.net. That needs to stay there. You can add an additional email, but again, this is your district email. This is district stuff. I would just leave it at that. If you have other ways, you know, you want them to contact you through personal email or whatever, you can add it. But again, I personally, I would caution against that. Keep my district life and my personal life separate.
So there is Google Voice. You can add Google Voice. It's a little tricky, which is like something to do off on the side if you use Google Docs or Google Voice. But that would be if that's like, I use Google Voice as separate. They don't use my phone number. It can be done, but it's a little tricky. So that's like a whole nother training ball of wax, which we can go into. If you are specifically wanting to have Google Voice on there, we can address that later.
Yep. So again, over here, edit settings, that's how you would change all of your settings. Setting up multi-factor authentication, I would leave it at the default. We're already behind a double firewall, so you're pretty safe where you are. I wouldn't worry about messing with that. Download submissions. This is that you can download every submission for an entire course or for all of your courses. So those might be some pretty hefty documents. It might take a while for it to download, but you can do that and it will actually download it. I believe it's in a PDF. And then the same thing here with download course content. You could click on that and it would download. You can pick the course and it will download all of the content that's within that course. Again, that's a lot.
Laura, they're saying that your screen is now really small.
I wonder why that is, because I have not changed anything.
Yeah, I got that from like 3 people, 4 people, 5 people.
Okay, so.
They say Laura is very big and the box is very small.
Oh, I don't know. Mine's exactly the same. It could be because you know what?
If
you're on,
yep.
Yeah, if you look at your panel where you can see the pictures, there's a way that you may have switched the view by accident. So it's possible that you may have switched the view by accident on your screen. So you want to switch it back to the screen share view, which now I have to remember how to do that.
So it depends on if you're full screen, you're going to want to hover it by the top and you're going to have a drop down that's going to come down. And then you're going to go to more. And it's going to give you the option to, somewhere it's going to give you the option to, maybe not, to see it differently. What I would do is I would exit full screen. So you will have a button to the side. On the right-hand side, when that drop down drops down, you have 2 little tabs underneath. The one on the right-hand side is view options. And if you click on that, you should get a choice of viewing the screen share. You should also get a choice of exiting full screen. And then if you exit full screen, you can size the screen however you want. And if you exit full screen, that menu is no longer up at the top, but you do have a little box in the upper right-hand corner up by where the pictures are in Zoom. And you would be able to click there. It says speaker view and you can click there. If you have it set so that it's the speaker, what happens is everything else gets small and only the speaker's picture shows up big. So you can toggle kind of through those different settings. Okay. Pair with an observer. This is, and if you click on any of these, like I said, it tells you exactly what it is. Share the following pairing code with an observer to allow them to connect with you. This code will expire in 7 days or after 1 use. So if you want somebody, you have a parent or somebody for whatever reason that needs to see your course temporarily, you can give them an observer code and they can check in and see it. They can't do anything. All they can do is look. Okay? But that's where you would get that. The district is setting up accounts for parents as well. where they can see but not do, but theirs are not a temporary observer. Theirs are a permanent observer. Okay, so as long as their students enrolled in the course, they have access to view that course the same as their student.
And I think the district is going to set all that up, the observer.
Yep.
Like with the student observer, so you wouldn't need to worry about that.
Right. So this would only be if you had like an extenuating circumstance of where you needed to give someone very limited access for a limited amount of time, which is probably not going to come up, but it could. That's where it is in case you need it. That's why they changed the tiles today. Yesterday it was the 2 tiles to sign in if you use the instructor site. Today it's 4. One of those tiles is specifically for parents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, I wouldn't change any of this on the web services. You have to be really careful when you go outside of the district with FERPA laws. I know a lot of people like to use a lot of the free tools that are out there. That's all well and good, but you have to make sure that you're guaranteeing student safety out on the web. So that's why when you use things like Kahoot, they're not allowed to use their real name. They have to use some sort of a nickname or something. Okay? That's why we don't use Google Classroom in our district. There are districts that are Google districts where Google is behind a second firewall. So it's protected just like our Office 365 is, and then they're good to use it, but they're a Google district. We are not a Google district. We are a Microsoft district. So just be really careful with anything that you do outside the district, what the district provides in terms of FERPA laws. And then they're gonna continue to add integrations. You can add other integrations. Again, I would just leave this just the way it is. And right now, this is all being handled at the district level. Everything that you need that needs to integrate into Canvas is here. And you want to be really, really careful with anything from outside that you bring in. Now, that doesn't say YouTube videos and stuff like that. When we get to doing modules, which will be in another training, we can show you how you can embed the HTML code from YouTube so they never leave Canvas. Okay? So that's a good thing too. And then the
people
features.
are, Laura, some people are saying something about not being able to edit their profile. And I think that I tried to help someone edit their profile today, and it may be possible that the district possibly has clamped down on profile editing. For some, okay, it's possible, but I don't know, because I was trying to do some profile editing today with someone else and they were having a hard time. So if you're still not able to edit your profile, that could be what it is, because I know on Edsby, like, we could edit some things but not everything, and I remember you couldn't add a picture and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's a thing, but if you're not able to edit, it could be a thing. I don't know.
If you can't, try talking to the super user at your school, because I only have teacher level access. I don't have any additional permissions over what a regular teacher has, and I'm able to edit my profile.
And at your school, the super user, you could ask your principal, and they should know who that is, because someone did ask that earlier. Your principal would know who that person is.
The super user is terminology is Canvas champion.
Yep.
They walk around with a big cape on their back.
Only to be outdone by the COVID commander.
That's true.
Yeah, I will inquire about this, by the way.
So, but I don't think it's locked down at the district level. If it's locked, it might be locked at the school level.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying check with your champion, because I have just simple teacher access. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything special, and I'm able to edit my profile.
Okay, so I'm seeing here, like, right as we're talking, everybody's able to get into it. They must have just not been clicking the right number, or it could have been during that time where Canvas was a little wonky.
Okay. Good point. All right,
yeah,
perfect.
Because when they were uploading it today, when they were uploading the new features and putting the extra tiles on the sign-in page, Canvas was out for about an hour or so. Mm-hmm. So you may have hit it during that time as well.
So right. Cindy, you said here that districts said they were going to be down this week to upload class rosters. I'm not sure about that, because I know at least at our school, our rosters are not even valid until after Thursday.
Correct.
So,
And I think what our APC told us was that we'll know on Thursday whether we're doing completely e-learning, in which they have one master schedule, and if we're doing brick and mortar and e-learning, there's a different master schedule that they've had to create. And so that will determine rostering and which students are in which path and so on and so forth. And that those finalized lists, because believe it or not, parents are still allowed to change their choice. We're having parents change their choice every single day at our school. And so they're having to relocate where all those children are going to go in terms of courses. That won't be locked until the 12th. And then the planned upload is the 14th.
So Laura, you wanna go? It's almost 6. I want to make sure we get everything because we're on like number 2 objective. I want to make sure we get all the things because we got like 6 more things left.
That's just about, we had just about planned to finish with me just about 6.
Awesome
So we're pretty close on schedule. These, again, these are just features. This disable celebrations. If you have it turned on, they don't get a celebration. If you have that turned off, they do get a celebration. That means every single time that they submit an assignment, confetti rains down on them. So that's really cute and fun at first, and it gets old after a while.
But it could be helpful to stop them from asking you whether or not they actually submitted it. True. Because it will give confetti every time they submit it. So then you can say, well, did you get confetti?
Right.
And the elementary person in me is like, anytime we can have a little bit of a party, it's a party. So especially for the little ones, I mean, because everybody will be using this, and we know that the big kids are little ones and big bodies. It's like getting a sticker on the forehead. They love it. We may not, but they
sorry. Just like I said with the other features, if you click on these little buttons, it tells you exactly what it is that you're turning on or off. So that's all you have to do is click the little side button. It'll tell you exactly what it is.
So some question was, could you review what the high contrast UI is?
So that has to do with the colors in your text and in your buttons.
And we'll go over that more in detail later.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that helps with I think that helps to make the buttons stand out more so that they're easier for people to see. So you know, I think it also can help with maybe accommodations as well for some students if it's necessary.
Correct. And here's the other beauty, right? You turn it on, you go and you see what it looks like. You don't like it, you go back and turn it off. Right? It's that simple. So the last 3 down here are about exporting to worksheets. I would just leave those as they are. And then the course tutorial, what this does is those are those little pull-out tips, which I like. You can just shove them to the side if you don't need it, but I kind of like them being there because if you forget, it's nice to have it right there handy. And then underline my hyperlinks, which, you know, is pretty standard. All right, and then always remember this one, I didn't do anything, so I don't have to save anything. Okay. So that is your account.
All right, let's talk about this panel.
Yep, I'm gonna stop sharing.
All right, let me see if I can pull this panel back up. And I apologize in advance. My Canvas is full of all kinds of things. I'm in a ton of courses. So don't freak out if you don't have all these things on your Canvas. I promise it's not you. I'm just in at least 30 something courses. So like my Canvas is a little bit busy.
Same for me. And Michelle will show you when she goes down the rest of the things in that panel in global navigation. There's a way to hide some of those so that you're not overwhelmed by 30 things.
Yes, I am. Okay, so we're going to start with the one that's right underneath account, since we talked about account. So this is your global navigation right here. So your global navigation will take you anywhere in Canvas that you need to get to so that you can find all of the things that you need. Right now, I am on my dashboard, and it also says dashboard up here so that I know the location. This is where you will see all of your courses. So courses that have been published, as well as courses that have not been published yet. So your sandbox should be sitting down here in unpublished courses, because your sandbox will never have any students in it unless like you add a colleague as a student, so that you guys can look back and forth and see, you know, what kinds of things you're doing in your sandboxes. You won't have any students in your class in your sandbox because it's for you to kind of play around in. In
Also,
published courses, oh, go for it, Laura.
in the sandbox, if you do invite a colleague, that's a good way to direct share, because if you make them a teacher in your sandbox, yes, they can alter your sandbox, but they can also take things from your sandbox. It becomes part of their collection of files and rubrics and all of that as well. So that's another way that you could direct share with someone. Obviously a certain level of trust, but we're professionals, so.
Yes, indeed. I mean, you wouldn't share it with just any colleague. You would share it with a colleague that you trusted to go in your sandbox. I have several sandboxes, so it makes no difference to me. All right, so you also should have, obviously, in your published courses, your whatever your professional study day course was, your annual training requirements if you registered for those already, and those two. And then if you took any of the Canvas trainings, then you may have that course. If you took it, then that course would be in there as well. So like I have the self-paced one, but I also took the face-to-face one, so I technically have both. All right, so Canvas, the dashboard has different views. I personally prefer the view that has tiles, because I like to be able to kind of scroll down and see a little overview of what's on here. But if you click the little 3 dots right here at the top, it will give you the different views. So right now it is in card view. You could also put your dashboard in list view. You could put it in recent activity view. So those are the 3 views. There's also something called a color overlay, which I have mine turned off because I don't like the way it looks, but you know, some people don't care. I'll show you what it looks like if I turn it on. It basically puts a color over the picture, so you like, it's almost like, you know, putting a filter over the picture, so you can't really see the picture clearly. Like I said, I keep mine turned off because I hate the way that it looks. Over here on the right-hand side, you have the panel that will show you all of the things. So let's say that you're a student in a course, it will show you the things that you have to do, like the things you need to do. Like let's say that you didn't finish a survey at your PSD yesterday and you need to finish it, then, you know, something like that will show up over here. You know, you need to take the survey and it's past due. If you're a teacher in a course, this panel over here will show you the things that need grading. So, and they'll say, you know, these kids turned in this, these kids turned in this. You could check your calendar to see the things that are coming up on your calendar, what assignments are coming up due, that will show up here. And then feedback that you've received if you're a student in a course, any feedback that you've gotten on assignments that you've turned in. So like professional study day, or, you know, if your school did a PD and created a course for that, any feedback that you got from that course instructor would be here in this recent feedback section. And then you could click right here to just go straight to your grades, you know, whatever the grades are for those assignments. So that's this panel here on the corner. So I'm going to show you the different views of dashboard. So in the list view.
If I could interrupt for 1 second.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a number of people saying that their sandbox is published. It's possible.
And that's fine.
When you were playing around with publishing, if you took one of the other courses in the district, that you may have hit the publish button. If you don't want it to be published, just hit where it says publish and it will unpublish. It's a toggle switch.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter which way it is, because nobody else is in that course but you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, no one can see it. Nobody can get in it unless you send them an enroll code or add them yourself. So you should be good there. So this is the list view on dashboard. This drives me personally crazy. This is too much. I can't handle it, but some people prefer looking at their stuff in a list. So if you keep scrolling up, it will keep loading past items that have already happened. So assignments you've already turned in, things like calendar events that have already passed. of things that you needed to do. So like mine is going all the way back to, looks like, you know, my December courses when I was first training. And then as you go forward, recent things that you have will start showing up. So as you scroll down, the more recent things will pop up that you have to do, or, you know, things that you submitted up until the present date. So this is what the list view looks like. And then up at the top, you can see that if you push today, it will jump right to today to show you what you have to do today. So it's almost like a schedule view on a calendar, where it just shows you all the things that you have. Almost like if you had a planner, these are the things that I did, you know, if I turn the page back, and then these are the things that I have to do that are coming up. So this is the list view. You can look here, and some of the same icons are here. So, you know, you can kind of click around, you have notifications, and you can look at your grades and see if you have any grades for your courses. That's what the little book icon is, to check grades. The little bell icon is, you know, notifications, and more than likely probably announcements as well. The last view is the recent activity view. So in this view, you will see, you know, basically the most recent things that have happened in your course. So for me, for example, I have 95 assignment notifications between all of the courses that I'm registered in right now. And then, you know, different discussions that were posted, you know, whether people replied to discussions, whether a new discussion was created in a course, that type of stuff. So, and these are from my courses where I'm both a teacher and the student. So this is the notification view. So you probably can see why I prefer card view, so that I can actually just see my classes. But if you prefer, you know, any of the other views, then you can always switch it to whatever view you like best. And you will go to these 3 dots here to change that.
So we do have a question that says, when I click on the list view, I only get the desert picture, and it says
Yes.
there's nothing there.
So if you scroll up, you may have past stuff, but if you've never, if you have not completed any courses in Canvas, which, I mean, your professional study day stuff, if you turn stuff in for that, if you scroll up, it will show up under past things that were due, but you probably won't have any recent stuff like from today. So mine also was blank and had a desert thing until I started scrolling up to see past stuff. But that will happen. That's another reason why I'm not a fan of list view. I personally prefer the tile view myself. All right, so let's take a look at courses. And the dashboard is also your landing page, by the way. So when you log in to Canvas, it plops you on the dashboard. So, and that's another reason why I like tiles. So if you click on courses, which is right under dashboard on the global navigation, it will show you every course. And you'll notice that I have way more courses here than I do over here. And that's because you can choose what courses show up on your dashboard. So if you scroll down to the bottom of courses, it will even tell you, welcome to your courses. To customize, click on all courses and star the ones you want to display. So you're going to click all courses, and that will show you every course that you are currently registered in, which for most of you will be your PSD course, your sandbox, and, you know, if you took any Canvas trainings, those courses should be what everybody's in, and of course your annual requirements. So like I was telling you guys before, I have tons of courses because I am registered as a teacher in several courses because I'm one of the curriculum content writers. So I'm kind of almost in every course. But you notice that all of these courses do not show up on my dashboard. And the reason for that is the little star in the corner. So I put a star on the courses that I care about and that I would like to see in my personal dashboard. So you would go ahead and put a star, and those courses would always show up on your dashboard. So you could go ahead and do that. Like my sandbox always shows up on my dashboard because I always want to be able to find it. Now, if you look all the way down to the bottom of courses, you can see future enrollments. So these are courses that are coming up that you're enrolled in, but they're not they either may be published already or they may not be published already, but the course hasn't started yet. So like, let's say it's like next semester, you know, you'll see it here that, you know, next semester you're enrolled in this course, but you can't really access it. Like you can't do anything in it yet. So it's just the course that you're enrolled in the future, date wise. And then once that date comes that the course is supposed to start, then it will pop up here in your, you know, current courses. So again, if you want it to show up on your dashboard, you just click the star next to it. If you don't want it anymore, you click the star and it will take it out of your courses menu. If you want to see it again, you click the star, it'll put it back in your courses menu. All right. So there is a browse more courses feature, and there's not really any courses in here for you guys to browse because we haven't had any yet. And I have a feeling because Hillsborough Virtual has been using Canvas. So they, at first, when we first started Canvas, on that original page to log in, it used to be Hillsborough Virtual and, you know, just SGHC on that first page. And now you notice that when you log into Canvas, from the instructor page, you'll see 4 things, and Hillsborough Virtual isn't there anymore. So I have a sneaking suspicion that Hillsborough Virtual has probably been moved to their own server. So there used to be a time where you could browse more courses and you could see past like Hillsborough Virtual courses that were public use, that you could go in and kind of peek at what teachers did in the past. You couldn't really click anything because there was nothing there for you to see, but you could at least like click on it and look around, but you couldn't really do anything. I doubt that they're still there now because I think they've, you know, separated them completely, but you probably won't be able to see any more courses right now. Now, after you've completed, let's say, a semester of courses, then you may be able to see your past courses by browsing more courses. All right, so next up is the calendar, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So this one's gonna be pretty quick. So for the calendar from Global Navigation, what you're gonna see is all of the calendars for all of your courses when mine eventually loads. So as you can see here, my calendar list is long because I am in many courses, but yours obviously will not be that long. But each course has a different color. So let's say that your students do have some assignments that they need to turn in, right? When they come to their calendar, every class that they're in, those assignment names and due dates will show up on this calendar in the color of their course, so that they can differentiate what is due in which course. For you, any assignments that you've placed would also show up here, as well as any assignments in the classes that you are registered as a student in would also show up here. So I wonder if it will, if I put that up like that, if it'll show me anything. So yesterday when I was looking at it, I had a couple more things in here, like all my professional study day stuff was here. And usually once a student has completed it, it'll put like a dash through it. They also, I'm going to assume that there'll be a point where maybe your school stuff will show up here once your school Canvas courses are in here. So the students will be able to see, you know, what's happening at school as well. And that kind of stuff will also show up here on the calendar. And then they can put things on their own Canvas calendar if they want some reminders of stuff that's going on. They can subscribe to the calendar feed, as can you. So if you have a personal calendar, let's say you use Gmail for yourself and it shows up on your phone, you can actually subscribe to the feed of your calendar and, you know, subscribe to it on your Gmail and then have the calendar show up on your Gmail so that you don't always have to come back here to check your calendar, just like you could with the district calendars on the district page too. So that's also an option as well, if you wanted to do that. All right, and it also gives you instructions for how to do it too, if that's something you're interested in. Next is your inbox, which again is exactly what it sounds like. So the inbox is where you can send messages to your students. You can message all the students in all your courses. You can message, you know, one child in one course. You can message a group of students. And the awesome thing that you will hopefully love that EDSB did not do is you can organize. There's an organization to your inbox. So let's say you only want to see the messages that you have not read yet. you can choose unread messages, and all of the ones you have not read yet will show up, which is nice because you could not do that previously in Etsy. You can star messages like as if it was your actual inbox at your email, so that those messages will show up if you have something that's particularly important or you need to come back to. You can see messages that you've sent to students or parents or teachers. You can see archive messages. You can see any comments on submissions that have been sent. And again, mine are blank because I haven't really been sending any messages. And then you can see your inbox, of course, which is basically all of the messages. So you can also sort by all courses and see all of the messages for all your courses, or you can just go to the ones that you've starred and only see the messages for the courses you've starred. Or you can see the messages for all of the courses that you are presently a teacher in. So you basically can choose what messages you would like to see and sort those messages, which is lovely, because I'm sure that, you know, trying to use Edsby messages last year or earlier this year during when we were home for, you know, staying at home and we didn't come back was a nightmare because sometimes messages would come in and they wouldn't pop up at the top. So here, at least you can sort and specifically look for things that are unread and search by course.
So question real quick,
Yes.
that came up about the emails.
Yes.
I don't have the answer to type it in there. Was when you send a message to the student, do their parents see them?
That is an excellent question. And
I
I believe, I don't know if they can because they're an observer. So they should be able to actually see everything that the student can see. And because I don't have any students to send things to, because we don't have any students yet, I can't test it. But however, if you click on the help, or if you want a quick answer, if you click on the help button, you can actually search in those Canvas guides and just search for inbox, and you can actually see whether or not, because I feel like you should be able to send a message to the parents of students, you know, or probably CC a parent, but I'm not 100% sure because I have no students to test it on, so I haven't been able to test it yet.
So I know from previous experience with Canvas, if a parent has a parent account, it shows up on your roster under people as an observer. So going from other districts, you would just like in Edsby, you have to click on the parent as well as the student. I don't know if they're going to link that here in Hillsborough. So that would be the question.
I think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be the same as it was. I think it's going to be where if you're messaging the students, you're messaging the students just like in Edsby. And if you want to message the parents, you message them as well. So when you create your message, if they're an observer in your course, you should be able to pull them by name as well as pull the student by name.
And that is what I'm hoping, but we're not 100% sure because, you know, we have no students yet, so we can't even test it to see what would actually happen. But another really awesome thing is, you remember trying to send messages in Edsby to all of your kids, but you didn't want everybody to see every message that you were sending because of privacy, so then you sent them one by one? The lovely thing about Canvas is that you can put all the kids in here, but you can send an individual message to each recipient, so everybody won't see who you're sending it to. It's like, you know, a blind carbon copy basically. So that is a nice feature where you can send messages and the whole class doesn't have to see all the messages that you're sending. You can do blind carbon copy now, which is lovely. You can attach things like you could before. You also could record audio or video. So let's say you want to send a message to a student, and maybe you want to record your voice telling them to do something. Like maybe it's just faster to say it than it is to type it. You could record the little play button here. If you press that, it will give you the option to record audio or video. And then you can basically choose to record, which it won't let me because, you know, I'm currently using my microphone. But you can choose to basically record the message and send it to the student, and then they can play it and listen to you explaining something to them or watch you explaining something to them. So that's also a really nice feature.
And if you noticed on there when she had that open, it also had upload media. So let's say that you have a little short video that you want them to watch or whatever. You don't have to record it directly into the message. You could have it pre-recorded and upload it.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Or they ask you something and maybe you did have it pre-recorded from back when we were at home, and or maybe something you found on YouTube that helped your students back when we were at home in March, and you could attach that file or attach that link and send that to the students so that they could watch that, and if they have any questions. Another awesome thing is that it also keeps your messages all together. So if, just like your regular email, so if I send the email to, let's say, Laura, and then Laura responds to my email, and then I respond back, it basically threads your messages. So you don't have to go searching anymore, and it shows up just like email would, where, and I'm not going to open this one because I know exactly who this one's from, but but basically it threads your messages. So it will show you, at this date, this person sent the message and this one was your reply, would you like to reply? You can reply, just like it would in your email inbox, which is lovely. And it puts them all together like this so that you can find it. So that's actually a pretty nice thing about the inbox, which is sweet.
And I actually really like too that it shows you the number of emails that are in that thread.
Exactly. And this is what I meant when I said you could star a message. You have the little star down here. So let's say you wanted to keep this message and star it because you might want to come back to it. And then let's say your inbox is full because, when the kids come back, your inbox will be full at some point, and you just want to search for the message that you starred, and you started so you wouldn't forget it, but you have so many emails now you can't find it. You can just come here and hit starred, and every message that you starred will pop up here, just those messages. So you can actually star it so that you can find it later, if you want to come back to find a message from a student later. So that's
so we had a couple of questions. One was about deleting messages. I don't think that you would really want to, because
I don't think so,
like your trail of evidence, just like it was in EDSB. And then the other thing was about the ability to print the messages.
Ooh, good question.
You can print the messages. It's you should be able to, if that option is going to be available. It's just like you do with email. There will be, like right now you don't see the link.
Yeah, right now you can't. Mm-hmm.
But there should, if we have that ability open to us, it would be right there where you can download, go over to.
Yes.
And it's where the download button is, next to the trash can. And we'll download all the emails, and then you print from there.
And this actually is the archive button. So somebody was asking about deleting. You probably don't want to delete them, but you may want to archive them. So archive won't delete, but it'll just store them for you. And over here lets you search by archive. So if you want to, empty your inbox instead of deleting a message, I would archive it so that you could find it later. Because like Laura said, you want that trail, that paper trail. Especially when it comes to like student messages and parent messages. But let's say your inbox is getting super full, then you probably want to archive it instead of delete it, because then you can at least search your archive messages like you would, in your email inbox, instead of just deleting it. Because by that point,
questions up here saying, how would it show if you sent to everyone? Not quite sure what that means.
So if you sent it to your whole course, let's say, you would select, I don't even know a course where I have everyone. Oh, let me pick on a district course. So let's say that you picked a course. So you click the little people icon. So in this particular course, there's 188 people at this present moment, because we just had professional study day and we had teachers register as students. And then the people who were teachers in the course like me are in the course. So let's say, for example, that you want to send it to teachers, right? You can choose the teachers, like the individual teacher, or you could pick all the teachers and it will send it to all the teachers. You also, let's say you want everybody to have it, you could send it to all the teachers and all the students, or everybody in the course, just the course itself, and just pick the course. So you can either do it individually, all the teachers, individually, all the students, or just the whole course. So I'll show you that again. You click the little address book icon. You can send it to the entire course, or you can send it to individual teachers in the course, or all the teachers in the course, or you can send it to individual students in the course, or all the students in the course. So you do have that option. That's what it would look like if you were to do it that way, but it does give you the option. And remember what I said, you see how they automatically check off the little individual message to each recipient box so that everybody isn't getting the message all at the same time. So they're sending the BCC copy, the blind carbon copy, so that everybody doesn't see the message, they get the individual message. Now, when they're sending it to teachers, you have to be careful because that does not automatically click. So if you don't want every teacher to see the message, then you want to click that button if you're in a class where there's like multiple teachers or something.
And you can only send emails, messages to people who are enrolled in the course.
Yes,
so there's
correct.
been several saying, why can't I send to another teacher? If they're not in the course, either as a
Yes.
student or a teacher,
Correct.
you can't do it. So so you can't come right now if you're in one course and be like, hey, Tina, how you doing? If I'm
Yes.
not in there.
Correct. Now, when your school's course pops in there, because
Right.
I've assumed that, you know, every school will have a Canvas course where they load content. And I know that some schools are working on that currently. When your school's course loads, all of the teachers at your school will be teachers in the course. So then, yes, you will be able to email your coworkers, but I mean, you also could use ideas, which would be my first choice, you know, because when the notification is going to come to ideas anyway. But once your school's course loads, then you will be able to email teachers at your school. But no, you cannot, like Christina said, you cannot send emails to someone that's not in your course. Not at all.
Another question that came up was what happens with the emails at the end of the year? The courses that I had from last year, all of my emails are still there. So I think they just stay there, kind of like Edsby, they stay there. You can archive them if you want. They continue to scroll down. So.
And you can also import stuff from your old courses into your new courses the next year, which that would be like another training on another day. But because I'm sure that'll be the next question that's asked because of course, you know, what happens to the emails, what happens to the courses? You can import content.
It was questioned about what's the reason of having our completed courses? And so I did address it in the chat that the great thing about completed courses is if it's the same class you're teaching next year, or let's say 2 years from now, and the course and the content is still good, you just copy and you export, I call it copy and paste, right into your new one, and boom, half the work is done, and you're just doing minor changes to it. Bad thing about it is they don't ever go away. The only time those completed courses or courses go away is if your like in EdConnect, if the class itself is collapsed, like if it just like in Edsby, if you have a course and then they collapse it to create something else, all that is lost. So if that ever happens where you're told, oh, I'm not going to teach this class anymore, you're going to go to a new class, make sure that you take that material and copy it into your sandbox so you don't lose it, because once your classroom is collapsed, it takes about 3 weeks for the Canvas tech person at the district level to go through all the code to find your course.
Ooh, good to know. Thanks for that tip, Christina. That's good to know.
Hey, that's what happens when you're
so another way to save all your stuff, so you can either copy it all to your sandbox, or Commons was a little bit later today, but since it's already in the notification panel, I'll just show you Commons, and then, you know, we can move on to the next piece, which is talking about the sandbox, because that would have been the last piece anyway. So I'll just skip to Commons right now, and we can just talk about Commons. So the Commons is the place where you can find materials that are posted from other teachers. So maybe, you know, other teachers in the district, materials that are posted from the actual tech people in the district, or your supervisors or science coaches within the district. So anything that is official, like an official thing from like a district supervisor or a district content person, they look very fancy and they say things like approved resource, content supervisor approved materials, instructional materials approved resource. So that's how you know that it comes directly from the district, is if it has that approved resource thing. So like Christina was saying about copying your material, you could copy it to your sandbox. Another way that I like to do things is I like to share my stuff to the Commons, but only to myself, so that I'm the only person who can see it. And then I grab it from the Commons and throw it back inside of the class that I wanted to go to. So for example, If you go to shared, those would be all of the things that you personally have put in the Commons. So here in this shared folder, I am the only person that can see these courses. I shared them with only myself. I did not share them to the district. So people in the district can't see any of this. Like, you can't search for my courses because I only shared them with myself. And they're all sitting here in my shared section. And so if I wanted to pull that course, like actually today I did, I actually took this from Christina. I took this from yours, actually, from your sandbox. So Christina was nice enough to put me as a teacher in her sandbox, and she has an awesome module in there that I loved, and I wanted to kind of make my own riff on it for my high school kids. So today I went in there and I shared it to the Commons just to myself. And then it takes a little bit to upload. And then you can, and this is good for anything in the Commons really that you want to take from the Commons. When you click on it, it shows you a preview, which sometimes takes a little bit to load, so you know what's in there in that resource. And then you can get specific details. So is it modules? Is it just pages? And then over here, you have the option to import or download. And when you click that button, it asks you, where do you want to import it to? Or where would you like to download it to? So I'm going to click it right now. I'm not going to put it anywhere, but just for the sake of clicking it. So it'll say import into Canvas, and then you can go here and look at all your courses. So which course would you like to put it into? And then you basically pick the course you would like it to go to, and then you plop it into that course. So when we were talking earlier with the course that Laura showed, the Canvas for Teachers, which I know we had tried when we had met Laura before last week to try to see if we could find that course, and I couldn't find it. And I remember some people, when you showed it again, also couldn't find it. So I don't know if it's still up there or not.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either.
I do know a couple of people who were able to download it from the Commons.
Okay.
I don't know if they've taken it out or
They may have taken it out because I couldn't find it.
I do know that if you did take one of the district trainings, there was a link to it that was sent out after the district training, so you could look for that.
And if you didn't get it, you should definitely contact whoever your trainer was if you still have that email.
Contact Jenna Dawson or Chris Holt.
Yes.
Because they were the two that were kind of overseeing all those trainings, and ask them for it, and one of the two of them should be able to send it to you.
Yep. So Chris Holt, actually, and when I go back to the main Commons, you'll see his name on a lot of the stuff because he's in the tech department. So Chris Holt or Jenna Dawson would be the people that you would contact if you didn't get that link after the course. Like, I was one of the people who didn't get the link, but I also didn't need it because I'm already enrolled in a course like that. So here was the preview I was talking about. So you can preview what all is inside the course. So she has modules, she's got assignments, a couple pages, a discussion, some quizzes, and also some files. And all of those will basically get pulled into wherever I download them to, whichever course I download them to. So that's me sharing with only myself.
And if you go back to the modules,
oh,
sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
If you go back to the modules, the same thing happens in your course. If you create something in the module, which again, we'll do in another training, it also populates into pages and discussion, whatever else it is. So you can, when you're in the preview or even when you're in your course, you can do it from the module view. And then
I'm going to show it in one of the district ones because that's taking forever. Show it in the district one. But yeah, so anything that's in your module will show up. Like when you share it to the Commons to yourself, anything that's in the module will show up there. Like anything you actually put in that module. So I'm going to go back to search. And you'll notice that the search in the Commons defaults to Hillsborough schools. And that is because this Commons is like all the Commons. Now, the district does have the ability to turn some things on or off. So like if you were to uncheck Hillsborough schools and you were to search for something, you could technically find other materials that were posted for public use from other schools and institutions that use Canvas across like the world. Because so you could find college resources here that college professors have posted. You could find things that other middle, elementary, high school teachers have posted in other school districts because lots of school districts use Canvas. So that's why yours automatically defaults to Hillsborough schools so that you can only use Hillsborough approved resources. So you want to be careful because these are the resources that Hillsborough County has approved that you could use. Like Rob was saying before, like you do not have to use these resources. They are optional resources for you to use. But they are like, there's some modules here, there's some chapters here from different courses and stuff. So like this one is probably one that was posted by another teacher and not one of like the content supervisor resources or one of the instructional materials resources, right? So maybe that one could have been a coach. Like I'm not sure, but maybe it was, or maybe it was just another teacher. So, but you can tell what's in here. They'll give you a little picture, there'll be a preview, and you can kind of go through all of Hillsborough's resources that Hillsborough has. Some people have made home pages already that you could use and edit, or that you could use for yourself if you want. So I know that some, and I know that because some of the people at my school in the high school, some of the contents have already pre-made home pages for people. So if you don't want to make your own home page, you could always use the one that they already made if you want to, and just download it into your course and do that. So some people have done that, or you could make yours from scratch. So there are some home pages in there. Like I know if you teach high school, one of my colleagues, she teaches AP classes, and the AP instructional people have made an AP homepage that they could edit and use for themselves if they want to, or they could build one from scratch. So some contents have done that, or some teachers have been doing that. If you want a generic one and you don't care what it looks like, then you have that option.
Also, couple of questions came up, and one other thing I wanted to point out, it was mentioned a couple times about like the math has a landing page. That's your curriculum guide. So that actually imports, that's an enroll code. So there's a difference. When you download something from the Commons, you pull something into the Commons, you have to pull it into a course. So it doesn't just go on your dashboard, you're gonna pull it into a course.
Yes.
So
and we're gonna practice that right now.
Yep, the place to pull it into is gonna be the sandbox.
Correct.
When you get an enroll code, like if you were in math yesterday, especially at the middle school level, I know, there was an enroll code for the math landing page. That's a separate course, because they can set up courses for you to enroll yourself in. And so you get the link and then you click on that and you enroll in course. That's your curriculum guides.
Yes.
Correct. And that's its own separate course. And you are not a teacher in that. You're technically a student in that.
Correct. Until the district finishes doing whatever they're doing with schedules and whatever they're doing down there on the district's end. And then at some point, then you will be able to pull that whole thing into your sandbox and be able to pull that whole thing. I don't think you can yet, because it's something with the district down there. But at some point, you should be able to pull those curriculum guides into your sandbox so that you can use them, if you want to, and the 20 days and all that stuff if you want to.
Someone also, I think it was Ruth, posted the link for the enroll code for that that guide that I had.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it works, then go for it. I don't know, because I remember you shared it with us, but we couldn't get it to work for us. Like, it just said the course didn't exist. So if it works, have at it. I don't know if it works still.
So there were two more questions. On this page right here, there's a lot of feature tabs on there. And I believe that those are, and if you look at the three that are right there, these are featured by the district, probably because these are probably what they would like us to use so you don't have to recreate the wheel. I did look at some of these. Like the course content activity templates, and what it basically does is it creates your modules, and all you have to do is go back in, edit, add your standards that you need for that lesson,
change the names,
change things. It just gives you the district templates.
Yes, correct. So that's why they're featured, because like these are the three at the top that probably would be the most useful right now. So if you didn't know where to start and you wanted a template to work from, you could download the course content and activity templates. Now, there are some of these templates that are specific to content areas. So like there is a specific science template, there's a There's a high school science template, I believe, and a middle school science template, if I'm not mistaken. You know,
You're
so
correct.
some of these are general and some of these are very specific. Like I have the high school science one, and the science one looks different than, say, the math one or the English one. So you could do the general template, which is pretty much what this is, just a general template, or you can download the one that is specific to your content, and you could just click here in the search and search for it. So like I could type science.
So while you're doing that, again, somebody wanted to know what sandbox. Think of your sandbox as your practice area. It is, some of Canvas refers to it as their work room. It's just a place where you can practice, build something, because right now you don't have any courses. So you can sit there and twiddle your thumbs while you wait for your APC to download your master schedule, or you can start planning. If you only teach one subject, it's great. You can put it all in there, and then it's going to be a really quick one pass over. If you teach more than one subject, then you can still create it. It's then when you go to export it, it's going to be a little bit more tricky, but that's another lesson, and we will go over all that downloading, exporting, importing, because it'll make your mind boggle right now.
Yeah, no, that's a lot right now. But so for example, here's the science framework that I looked up. So in your PSDs yesterday, you would have learned about your specific framework for your specific course. Like these are the blank templates for science, let's say. So there's science K through 5, science 6 through 8, and science 9 through 12. So like as a high school teacher, I would use the science 9 through 12, right? So it just depends. And then this is just a blank template where you can delete the stuff that's in there and type your stuff, and it would give you, you know, if you didn't know where to start, it would at least give you a template to work from, you know, with some instructions and stuff in it that you could use. So you do have those options as well if you weren't sure where to start.
The other thing that someone put in here, which was excellent, I should have thought of it. I know that Jenna had said she had sent out an email saying that she was posting that the guide that I've talked about and then I showed on my dashboard. It's in help.
Oh.
Somebody said they found it in help, and I remember now that's where she said she was going to post it. So if you go to help,
perfect.
One of your choices in help is going to be that Hillsborough County guide, and you can, if you click on it, you'll get that enroll code, and it'll pop up as a course on your.
So what I will do is I'm going to show you guys how to download, how to pull something from the Commons, like the homepage, since someone asked about a homepage, and you can look at that later. So I'm going to show you how to pull down the homepage instructions for how you could customize your homepage if you wanted to, and has all the directions and a template and stuff in it. And then after that, I can click on the help so that we can find that course in help. So when you go to the Commons, this is the first page that you're going to see, and the homepage instructions are featured. So you're going to literally click on it, and then it'll open it up. And then you'll also notice here that it says again that it's a Hillsborough Schools approved resource, right? And that's important because you don't want to use any resources with your students. Like you want to be careful with the resources you use with your students if they're not Hillsborough approved, because you don't know what other people have created in their modules, their Commons, other schools. Other schools have different rules for what their students need to do in their school district. So just be careful about resources that aren't from Hillsborough County. So you'll see here, it gives you a preview of what's in the module. So this module has 2 pages in it. And then you can see what the 2 pages are. And then there's, you know, a bunch of files, which are mostly picture files for the images, which you'll see in a second. So I want to download this. And let me see what sandbox doesn't already have it. Let me put it in my anatomy sandbox. Okay. So, and you'll see that like, so these are sandboxes for me. I just renamed them so that I could know what I was planning on using them for. So I'm just going to put it in my anatomy sandbox that I had. And then, so I click that and then I hit import course. So I'm going to show again one more time. So I clicked on customizing your homepage from the Commons main page. And then it took me here. And then I clicked the blue button that says import/download. And when you click that, it basically asks you, where do you want to put it? And so I just went to go find somewhere to put it. You want to put yours in your sandbox. So because I have a lot of sandboxes and a ton of courses that I'm a teacher in, I have options. So I just picked one of my sandboxes and plopped it in a sandbox. And then you're going to hit the blue button that says import into course. And then you're going to get a message like this that says that you have successfully started the import. And then they warn you that it may take a while for you to see the changes. Because remember, depending on how big this file is that you're importing, it may take a little while if you have a whole bunch of modules. So like Christina's, for example, she had like a full module with like pictures and a whole bunch of stuff. So hers took a little while to import, but something like this probably wouldn't take that long because there's only 2 pages in there. But they warn you that if you go back to your sandbox and you don't see it, it doesn't mean you did anything wrong, because they said that you did it successfully. It just may take a little while before you can see it in your actual sandbox. So if you want to see whether or not it went there, then you can go to courses and then click on your sandbox course from here, or you can go back to your dashboard and click on the course from your dashboard. So your choice. So you can either click courses and click your sandbox from here, or you can hit dashboard, which will take you directly back to your dashboard and you can click it from there. So you got 2 choices. So I'm just gonna click on my anatomy blueprint to take me right to my course. And then, let's see, I haven't made the homepage for this blueprint. And then I just have a banner. And then you'll click on modules because that's where it will be. And here is the module that you just downloaded. And it will have the instructions for customizing your homepage and a template that you can edit so that you can customize your homepage. Now, when you click on this, I want to preface it by saying that you're going to have to log in to SharePoint. Like when you click it, it's going to ask you to log in, and SharePoint is Office 365. So you're going to log in using your login number at https.net, and your password is going to be your district password, just like you would log into Office 365. So your login at https.net, and your password is your district password. Once you log in, you'll be able to see the instructions for how to customize your homepage. So if that was something you were interested in and you wanted to try to figure it out on your own, how to do your homepage, this is where you would go. Now, how do I know that it was a module? So I did not tell you that.
Hang on a second, because we got a whole bunch of questions about that. There's a number of people that would like you to do that one more time.
Yeah, sure.
Just a little bit quick. And the other thing is kind of explain what a homepage is for them.
Yes. So, so here in the comments where we are presently, you're going to click on the thing that you want to import into your course. And how did I know it was a module? Because it says module on there. Like it tells you what you're importing. So this one's an assignment. This one's a module. So you click on the thing that you want to drop into your course, which is homepages. And then you're going to click this blue button to import it into your sandbox. So you click the blue button. Once you click that blue button, it will ask you to pick a course. Now, I have tons of courses. Yours won't look like this. You want to pick your sandbox. So I picked one of my sandboxes, which was this one. Once you choose your sandbox, you scroll down a little bit more and you'll see another blue button. You want to go ahead and click that blue button. So select your sandbox and then click the blue button to drop it into your sandbox.
Some of them are also getting where it won't let them unclick the all button because all they have is the sandbox.
Okay, well then in that case, you're good. Yeah, because if all you have is the sandbox, then you're good to go. Because that's the only place it has to go. Because you're probably a student in all the other courses that you're in, so you can't put anything into a class where you're a student. So you're set if your all button won't unclick. I'm a teacher in all these classes, so that would be bad because they're all district classes. That would be bad if I put them there. But yeah, so you just import it, click the blue button, and drop it in your sandbox. So I'm gonna go to not the sandbox that I was just in. I'm gonna go to another sandbox to talk about what a homepage is for the people that were wondering like what even a homepage is. real quick because I have a little bit of time left. So let's see, I think my completed one is here. Okay. So a home page is the landing page for your students. Like when your students first log into your course, it is the first page that they see. It's like when you go to a website, like when you go to the district website, the page that you land on is the home page, right? So that's the page where you can click other links to take you to other parts of the website. So it's where you would go. It has updates and that type of stuff on it. So for example, on this page, this one is my home page. So I'm going to look at it from a student view so that you can kind of understand what the students will see and why the homepage is important. So as a student over here, like there's a bunch of links and you know they're inclined to just go around clicking stuff. You want to try to help organize them so that they go where you need them to go. It also helps when you're telling them, you know, make sure you do the orientation or go check the syllabus. Make sure you check the announcements or go check your grades. So this kind of just helps focus them in on one location where they can go from the homepage to go find stuff, just like the landing page on a website. So this tells them what class they're in, because again, they're going to have Canvas for all of their classes. So maybe they might click something, click the wrong class by accident. When they land on that homepage, the banner is what they'll see at the top. And if that banner doesn't say the class that they want, which in this case is AP Biology, then they know that they clicked the wrong class by accident. They need to go back to their dashboard, right? So then underneath, I have these buttons. You can have whatever buttons you want. You don't have to have the buttons that I have. These are just the ones that I decided that I would want my students to be able to see. And when we do a later course about modules, and I know some people said they wanted a homepage training, you know, when we do that homepage training, then we will talk about how do you make the buttons, how do you hyperlink the buttons to take you places. So for example, if I click, let's see, if I click grades, right? Grades, if I click it, it's going to take me, because I'm a student right now, to my grades for this class, AP Bio, which is the one that I'm in, right? And then they just hit home, takes them back to the homepage in case they want to click something else, right? So when we do that homepage training, you know, we would talk about how you make your buttons, like how do you even make these tiles to put on here? How do you hyperlink these tiles so that the kids click it and it takes them somewhere? Because before you do that, it's just a picture. And you know, what kinds of buttons you might want to include for your students. So, you know, maybe after tonight, that could be something that you think about, you know, what buttons would you want your students to have? You know, like I want my students to be able to get to their assignments, to get to their quizzes, if they need to, you know, do a quiz, you know, to get to the class discussions, you know, that type of stuff. So you might want to think about what you want your students to have, and, you know, less is more. You don't want to overwhelm them with too many choices, but you want to make sure that for what you want as their teacher, that they're able to get to the things that you need them to get to. So that may be something to think about after today's session for, you know, when we do that homepage training, so you kind of already have an idea of what you might want your buttons to look like on your homepage. But so that's what a homepage is. It's just the landing page for the students. When they first come into your class, this is the page that they're dropped onto. And then they can, you know, do that. And then here, these are announcements. So you can actually, you know, have your announcements show up on your homepage too. So they have buttons, and then they can see all of your class announcements and the things that you want them to know.
So some questions that are coming up in the question box that I think can be answered real quick is the sandbox. You only get one sandbox.
Yes.
However, if you can justify it to your APC who has access to create all of your kids, they're going to hate me tomorrow. You can, if they know how to do it, they can create you a second sandbox. But right now, I highly doubt anybody, APCs are going to take the time to make you a sandbox.
And they might not all know how to do it either.
Right. And they're really busy right now. So you don't need them. You can do everything you need right now, because right now you're just practicing. You're not creating anything that's going to stick. Another thing is how do you know how to set up your Canvas course? It's just like your lessons. How do you set up your classroom is the same methodical way of looking at it. There's, I have, which we'll share, is a blueprint that says, you know, it's like a grid. It's like, if you're going to do this, what do you do next? Then you do this. Then you just, the flow chart. So it helps you organize this before you spend 5 hours working on your homepage only to find out that doesn't work. So it really takes a lot of time. And what we're showing you is what we've been working on all summer. So we know how to do a lot of the doodads. If you want to start practicing on the buttons outside of Canvas, there is a few we can put in the comments. We can add the some of the resources. It's a kind of like the button is a great one to create. Canva is also a great one. There's lots of different ways you can make buttons.
And the one that they use in the instructions that you guys just pulled from Commons is Canva, and they actually have a video, like they have like step-by-step picture instructions showing you exactly how to make buttons in Canva. So like if you're interested in playing with that and trying to create some buttons, which you can, then those instructions that you just pulled from the Commons will literally give you picture instructions and walk you through how to do it through Canva, because Canva is what the district used to make their buttons. So like it tells you how to do it on there. But again, we, like, a lot of people seem to be really interested in just a homepage session. So like I'm sure that, you know,
That'll be our next one.
I'm sure Rob will get that going, and that'll probably be our next one. After this is, you know, how do you make your homepage, because it's important to have a page for your students to land on.
Right.
And then, you know, we can go from there.
And then you see a lot of pictures on here. They're very awesome. You see a lot of Bitmojis on there. We will go over, you can go onto Facebook. Facebook has groups for just Canvas and how to build with Canvas for elementary, secondary, by subject areas. And also, if you're like me, who's a Bitmoji queen, I think my adult children tell me I have just totally made it totally uncool. Because I've been doing it for a couple years, but you'll see a lot of teachers fooling around with it. We're gonna do a section on that as well, because if you wanna make it your personality, this is your classroom, especially for e-learners, this is your classroom, you want it to be you. So we'll have all that. So a lot of the questions we have here about how do I do a homepage, we will cover that in another session. This is just going over what it could look like, and we don't want to, we were specifically told and asked to make sure that it was nice and slow, and homepage is a 2-hour session
just by itself. Homepage is a lot.
Modules is another one, pages are another one. So again, the question was, what is a page and a homepage? A homepage is your landing site.
Yes.
Think of it like your classroom. What would it look like basically what would it look like virtually? Your pages are,
and I'll go to a page real quick so that we can see.
Okay, so your pages are where you're putting your content on.
Yes.
It could be a video, it could be some actual text information, but that's when we get into how to build a module, how to build a lesson in your module, that's where we go over those things.
All right, so this is a page, and it's literally just, you know, there's nothing in it right now. I just made one and it's blank, but this is a page. It has a title, but there's nothing on it because I didn't type anything on it. But it's literally like a page in a notebook where you could type whatever you want. You could put pictures on it and stuff. Like it could just be text that you want the kids to read, you know, or instructions you want the kids to do. So, you know, like literally this is a page.
Yeah, and that's it. And then when you publish it, the kids are going to see just that.
And it will literally say, this is a page. And that's it. So it's like taking a fresh piece of notebook paper and just, that's a page. It's the same thing. So, but again, you know, when we go over that, we'll talk about it. So I'm going to switch out, and Christina, you can go ahead and take the shares so that we can do sandbox, and then people can ask questions.
Oh boy, I can't remember what I'm doing. Hold on. Go ahead.
Do we want to pause for just a minute and kind of let them take a breath? And
yes.
Because that was kind of a lot. We're trying to keep up with the questions. I know once or twice it went through. You didn't answer my question before I could even find it.
Rob, if you want to throw some questions at us, I can
We've
go
had
ahead.
470 questions come in, so we're doing our best to try and answer them. If it hasn't gotten answered, just go ahead and send it to us again, and we'll do the best we can with them.
Yeah, you guys have been doing a good job of actually trolling through the questions as you guys have been doing the training. So I appreciate that. So yeah, there are 470 questions. If there's something that you have not had answered yet by the ladies, please add it again, because we'll look at the bottom there. And I was trying to look in the middle spot. You guys were all over the place with the answering of the questions, but once again, thank you. You're doing a great job of kind of helping everyone here kind of navigate it. I'm brand new to it as well, and I see that you're just opening up the lid on Pandora's box. There's so much more in there. We will get into deeper trainings and things that are more detailed. I will say again something I said at the beginning, which is all of the things that you would find inside of your Canvas, the lesson plans and the frameworks and all the different things that the district is now adding. These are all recommended, not required. Yeah, you are the educational expert. You do what's best for your kids. We recommend that you get in there and try out the things that are being offered to see what is good, and let us know what's helpful, and let us know the things that are not. But you're not required to use any of them, and that is going to become more abundantly clear to both the trainers and all the teachers in the district next week, because we talked to the district today about that. So if everybody just wants to take a 2-minute breather and grab a drink of water, and then you guys come back and just answer. I see we got another like 10 or 15 questions here, and then we'll wrap up. But you guys have been fantastic. So I thank you very much, and for all the members here helping us get there.
You know, Canvas is an incredible tool. I'm really, really glad that our district has gotten it, and I think the timing of getting it is really good also, because we're all coming off of e-learning and we're kind of primed and ready to do something with it. Because it is such an incredible tool and it does so much, trying to learn it all in a 6-hour session, which is what you did if you did the district training, is extremely overwhelming. Once you start getting into Canvas and using it, there are no pieces that are difficult. And they almost always give you lots of little clues and hints of exactly what to do and how to do it. And so once you start feeling more comfortable with it and you start navigating your way around, it will become, you'll feel much, much better about it. And I think you'll really, really like it. But, you know, it is, because it's such a powerful tool, it does a billion things. And so we can't cover all of those in one session. Your head would explode. And the help is great. We have the highest level of support in our district. So if you click on that chat, you can go to the guides. You can go to the community from there. Somebody had asked about that earlier. You can download that. You can enroll in the course for the guide. And you can also, there's PDs that they have webinars. They have all kinds of other trainings that are there for us. They have some special things right now for COVID-19 that are there for us. But you can do that chat, or you can call that customer support hotline. And they are very, very quick on their response. And they will literally stay with you and walk through with you and how to get it done. And they're not going to leave you until you are happy and it is done.
And then at the end of your chat with them, they send you an email with a snapshot of what they covered. So, I mean, I've been on there at 2 in the morning. They're a little spicy then, but I've been on there at 2 in the morning, and they have, you know, it's kind of like Jake from State Farm. What are you wearing? But they are there and they are helpful. And then afterwards, I got an email afterwards saying, hey, hope this was satisfactory to you. Here's what we covered. So you have a way of going back. So if they walked me through something, I could go back to that email and see those steps again.
Yep, and they're really, really good. They follow up like a week later on it too. So I mean, they're really, the help is really, really awesome.
Is this the page, Laura, was this the page that you downloaded as an actual Canvas course? This right here?
Yes. So if they go into help and they click on it.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I forgot to do that before. There it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. So I went from help, I clicked on this.
And for her, it's going to take her directly there because she's already enrolled. If you're not already enrolled, it's going to come up with that little button at the top that says enroll in course, and you'll click that. And then there'll be another button that says go to course. And if you click that, then you'll be right where she is now.
And it doesn't, for me, it doesn't show up as an actual, like at yours, I think it showed up as an actual course card. Mine, it's already just embedded in the help.
Okay.
So I think that might be where some of them were going, where do I find it? Where do I find it? If you just go to the click during this little break, just click on it, on the help click, and then see what's available.
Yep, it's the very first one right there.
Right here.
I wanted to address a question that I saw asked. If you downloaded something to your sandbox and you don't see it, and it isn't there, where is it? It could still be downloading. Remember, depending on the size of the file that you're downloading to your sandbox, it could take Canvas a little while. You might hit refresh and maybe it might be there when you look again, but sometimes it takes a little bit for it to actually download. So that's just be mindful of that. It's probably not you. It's probably still downloading.
Right.
So, and there was a question about the proper order of creating things. There's no proper order, just like when you create for your classroom, there's no proper order. I prefer to create a module. So I kind of have in my head an idea of how my course is going to be organized. And then I create my modules based on that. And then I add things directly into my module. So I don't create in pages and in assignments and import them. I create them directly in the module. And again, we'll show you that in another training. And then I create my home page at the end so that I'm linking to that home page. So I already have kind of my course at least partially built, and then I'm linking from there. So, but that's just my preference. That's what works for me. What works for you works for you. So there is no best necessarily order to do it. The homepage for each course. So it's considered best practices. And the reason is, think about how much material you have in an entire semester. If you don't create a homepage, that shows up as a whole stream of module pages for them when they log in. And that can be pretty overwhelming. Whereas if you create the homepage, you just have select buttons that they click and it takes them to that section. What I did on mine, because when we were in the pilot, we didn't have homepage, we weren't creating home pages, we were just using the module view, is what I did is I would go ahead and just unpublish a module so it didn't show up on their side.
I think I can show it.
But then they can't go back to that material because it's not there for them. So really the homepage, again, it's one of those things that's suggested but not required by the district. Again, I think it just really helps students to be able to organize.
Yeah, so here's a course where we didn't have a homepage, and this is what it looks like. It's if you don't have a homepage set up. It just goes right to the modules and the kids have to go through it.
And then under each one of those modules, like it's open right there, you see all the activities. If every single module you had was open with all the activities, that can get pretty overwhelming pretty quick for a kid.
It's a bit overwhelming for the kiddos. So that's where homepage is. And like we said, we'll go over various ways of having a homepage, what they look like, what things you may or may not want to have exposed or access to the students. You know, it's where you can individualize, and based off of your elementary, you're probably not going to want to have all the navigational tools out there for them to click on. You know, high school, a little bit different. They're a little bit maybe have more self-control than going and clicking on everything. But again, we'll go over more of that when we get to our modules, home pages, and our course creations. All right, so what was I doing?
Sandbox, just going over the sandbox, course navigation in the sandbox, how to hide buttons, and how to find student view, because I did see that question in here too.
Right? All right, so are we all back? Was that enough time, or do we have more, or are we still breaking?
It's been about 5 minutes.
Okay, so the good thing it's being recorded.
Yes.
All right, so going back, you want to find your sandbox page, you're going to want to go to your dashboard. Okay, your sandbox, because you should have been playing with it yesterday in your PAD, it should be under your published courses. If it is not, click down on your course card and scroll down to all courses. This will allow you to see every course that you have currently. Okay, so I have a sandbox right here in my courses. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Ooh, wrong thing to be showing people. Oh well. Sorry, working on it. So in my sandbox, I have been working on preparing for what could be my classroom. As I've said before, I do a lot of Bitmoji things to the point of not making it uncool, but I don't care. So let's go over the parts of your sandbox. On your far left-hand side, you have your navigational tools for your course. Okay? We have your home, which is your home page. This is your landing port. Let's just call this your landing page. Makes it easier. There is also a variety of different things that you can have your students look at. Announcements, grades, all the way down. I don't need to read them, you can see them. Okay, each of them, right now you can see that I have them all as A, I don't have any content, and B, they're not visible to the students. So when I look at this through a student view, my students will not see any of this. Let me explain, because I know you're gonna be like, what student view? On the far right-hand side, you will see some options. When we were talking before about importing existing content, if Michelle or Laura had something that I wanted to take from them and put into mine, I could import it from one of the classes that we share. We have the imports from Commons that we've already talked about. We will talk about choosing your homepage later. Announcements, if you want to see announcements. But right here is our student view. This is what I personally think is like the most important button on the far right-hand side, because anything I do, I want to, before I publish and say to the kids, go for it, I want to see what it looks like. So which you did not have in EDSB. EDSB, you did things and you'd be like, well, look, I had no idea that the kids couldn't see EDSB the way I see it. So I'd be saying to them, well, look on your announcement page or look on your grade book. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? Here you can see exactly what they're doing. So if I click on student view, first thing you're going to notice that the screen has a purple border around it. That lets you know that you are in student view. As you can see, right, nothing to do because I didn't put anything out there. As you can see, all of those other courses that were up there before, like announcements, grades, are no longer available for the students. That's because I've hyperlinked them into my picture, but we'll talk about that later. You always want to use this, again, one, to make sure that your page has been published. I can't tell you how many times last year in my science class, I tell the kids to go to a course and they say, I can't see it. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't see it? And then it became a common joke of just being like, did you publish it first?
That's Canvas's #1 thing that they get help calls on, is teachers calling and saying, but I put the content there and the kids can't see it. And you have to publish at 3 levels. You have to publish the course, you have to publish the module, and then you publish the individual pages within the module. So it gives you really, really fine control over what students see and don't see at any time in your course.
Right. And I used to have, and I had a Canvas checker for me, is before I actually, on that morning, or if I said, oh, I put something new in there, it was that student's responsibility to go in and make sure that I published it before classes start. Saved a lot of frustration on their end and on my end. So anyway, once you're done looking to make sure that you want to see what they see, you can just click leave student view, and it brings you back to everything here. What we want to do is we want to go all the way down to the very bottom to our settings. So if you scroll, if you are on your Canvas page playing around with it, you scroll all the way down to the bottom to your settings. Your settings are going to give you the rights to customize how you want your particular course to look for your class. The first thing that's on the Canvas, the course details page, is your image. You've noticed that on my courses, I have my little Bitmoji videos. Again, another course to show you. Michelle had pictures, and so did Laura. You can individualize the pictures that you want very easily by going to choose choice or choose image. And it's going to ask you if you want to click and drag, drop, or browse your computer. I'm going to click on that. I have no idea what these pictures are, so let's find out. It's like roulette.
The other option it gave was Unsplash, which is awesome. I guess Canvas has a contract with the company Unsplash. It's kind of like stock photos almost, but they're like open source photos from artists and photographers and stuff. You can literally type almost anything. So actually all of my pictures that you saw on my actual tiles for my sandbox classes, they all came from Unsplash. I just typed like science, and then a bunch of pictures that were related to science popped up. So it's actually pretty awesome. Unsplash has a lot of stuff on there, and I think they even have some of the GIFs, like the moving pictures. So they have those as well. They have a little bit of everything.
So you can think of this kind of like, if you're a Google person, this would be your Google images. So you can do it either way. So if we wanted to pick that one, there it goes, it changes it. So you can change it as many times, and when you go back to your dashboard, I'll show you real quickly. Oh wait, I didn't save it. Oh, nope, it works. So now I have a picture of a skeleton. Maybe I'll leave it up there. Okay, so we're back.
Sorry, all of my pictures also came out of Unsplash, except for one. I downloaded one for one of my courses with the dragon splashing down.
So since I am not a course creator, you'll notice the blueprint course says no. I'm not special enough to be creating blueprint courses. So this is my course. It's not going to be used under blueprint. Your name, you can change the name of this course if you want. It won't go very far, but you can change it if you want. I have mine as working course, so you can change it. All of this right here is nothing for us because we can't change it. When your designer or your Canvas champion, it can determine the term, meaning what year, what semester is this course active for. So default term for us is going to be for this is undetermined, so it can be used indefinitely. So I can make assignments, I can make quizzes in here and give due dates and be allowed to do it because I don't have an end date to this course. As you can see, this is when it got started. I don't have an end date, so which means I can make assignments and quizzes. The other things that are on this course that you can do is, it says right here, when this is a read for out-of-state read only. So if your students, for an example, I'm babbling a little. After your course is complete, your students still have access to your course. So they can go back 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, as even using it as a reference. Like, ooh, I remember in IPS, Mrs. Finn we did this really good experiment on chemistry. Now I'm taking chemistry. I wonder if I can get a review on that unit so they can have it, which means that it's a read only. They can't do the assignments, but they can see the content. I will tell you that my daughter is a sophomore in college, and the other day I was like, look, can you go onto your Canvas course from Pasco eSchool, and can I look and see how they did something in your course? She was able to pull up her course from Pasco eSchool from 3 years ago, and we were able to look at her course and see how they did something. So they do have it. It's a great resource for them, and that's why they're there. You can restrict your students from viewing it after the end date or before the beginning of the date. These were default. You can change them. If you publish your course, once it's downloaded and you have the courses that you created and you publish it, and you don't want your kiddos to like get a sneak peek, you can put this on there or just unpublish it. Language. This is a game changer for me. Under here, under language, if English was not my first language and I am doing all this typing, I can change it to my native language. So, and then when I save it, I'll just go real quick. Now everything is in Polish for me.
However,
Yes.
every student that logs in will have it in Polish.
Yes, unless they go in under their settings and change it to English. I personally am not going to do this. This is a game changer for your students and your parents when they make their accounts. But if I was working on this on my own and I really did not want to work in English, I can change it to be in my own. So I go back over here to language and change it back to English. Make sure when you do it to English, you don't put Australia, Canada, or Canada because they spell their words with OUs and yeah, so it's just funny that way. All right, so that's your language. Other parts down here, you can click on it where it says here, speed, launch your speed grader by student group. When you are condensing or cross-linking your assignments, which was in Monday's overview of Canvas, this is how, if you have three, you're teaching the same subject but have different sections in it, you can have it by group, and that way then when it launches Speed Launcher, it'll go by your sections or your groups so that you're not just grading all over the board, you're grading by your sections. You also can have your grading scheme, and that goes for how you're grading. So this is using not ours. So we would look, do we even have it? So you would edit it and there you would go. So we don't use A minus B. We only use pretty much A, B, C, D, E, and F.
And remember that for your district courses, that's probably going to be preset because the district has its own default grading scheme. So they're probably going to preset that and you may not be able to change it once they, fully integrate Canvas. Like for pilot, you probably were able to change it, but once they fully integrate everything, you may not be able to change it because it'll probably come preset.
Right. So the rest, go ahead.
Sorry, if they do leave it open, like for myself, I do a 6543210 grading scale. And so I could set Canvas to understand what those numbers meant in terms of letter grades.
So yeah, but we don't know exactly how they're going to be doing it. So it's up to, what we're showing you today may or may, it all depends on what privileges we get once we actually are once it's actually rolled out.
Correct, but you can do it in your sandbox though.
Absolutely, play away.
You can do whatever you want in your sandbox.
Play away, that's what the sandbox is for. Visibility, course is institution, that would be for the entire Hillsborough or public. If we wanted everybody on Canvas to see my working box, I say keep it on course. Unless you've been told, hey, you've got a fantastic, put it on institutional, or you want to put out public, I just leave it on course just because it makes it less worried. So that's the first part of course details.
And notice there, she went to the bottom and she put update. That's the same as save.
Yes.
Make sure you do that or it's not going to make the changes.
Correct. So the next tab is your sections. Again, I don't think you are going to have access to this once we get rolling. This is where you're probably your command Canvas champion will be able to take your 4 versions of, like I teach IPS and 8th grade science. I have 4 sections of 8th grade science. This is where they can condense them and link them all together. So I have one Canvas course, but have 4 different sections in it. That's another, that also is another more details in that once we know how district is rolling that out. Under navigations, this is the one that we were talking about right here. So before today, I had moved everything behind, I call it behind the curtain, so that my students don't have access to it. When they did the latest update and they added all of these additional links, they became public. So I don't want any of them. So all you have to do is you just drag and drop behind. I call this the curtain. So I just drag and drop it.
Now, one thing to remember is that there are some things that if you hide them,
They can't get to it.
no matter what you do, even if you put a button, let's say, and link to it, the kids won't be able to get to it. So that's why when I was in my sandbox, you saw that there were some things that were still visible that also were buttons, because if you hide it, they can't see it at all in general. And they'll tell you which ones those are, but the beauty of the sandbox is that you can kind of play with it. And if you go to student view and you can't see it, then you know that it doesn't work and you probably have to make it visible. So that's
Right,
the good thing about the sandbox.
And just like Christina just did, a great idea is always go to your student view and you can see what the students are going to see or not see.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and we're talking about that is, okay, so you can't see anything here, right? But I have my modules on here and it says I have no access to it. Wonder why? Because I don't have, it could be because I don't have anything in there, or it could be that I blocked it. So that's where you have to play and make sure what is the reason why. I'm just
And if you look at it, when she goes back, you'll see it'll have a little note. When she goes back to the settings, like the course navigation, it'll literally say, if you hide this module, students won't be able to see it at all. And some of them will say, this module can be hidden, and you know, this module can be hidden and students will still be able to access.
Right.
So it'll say like disabled won't appear, you know,
In
but then it'll
navigation.
tell you they can, yeah, and they'll tell you if they could still use it or not.
So when we go down to announcements, it says pages disabled will redirect the course to course homepage. So if my students go to announcements, it should go back to the homepage if I don't have anything there. So, but you play around with this, see what you want. Each of these are different things. The rubrics, again, is another lesson to share. You can actually create your own rubrics and use that with SpeedGrader to grade your assignments, as well as when you give an assignment, give your student the expectations of how they earn their grades. High school students are big on this. Middle school kids are kind of getting to it. I know that my children, when they were in high school, both of my one daughter was completely e-learning for her 4 years of high school. She, the first thing she did is when she got an assignment, she went to the rubric and found out what I had to do to get an A. And this allowed them to take control. This allowed her to take control over her education and make sure she knew. If I didn't get an A, you then as a teacher would be able to say, this is where you messed up, or this is where you need to do improvements on. It's a great tool. More on that later. Teachingbooks.net, I think, is a textbook, if I'm not mistaken.
I am not 100% sure. It's not something I use,
Yeah.
but I will say somebody asked this question earlier and I answered it in a message, but I wanted to say it out loud. Somebody asked something about Edgenuity and Canvas. And so Edgenuity technically is already there, but it's the Edge courseware dashboard. It's already there. You just can't log in because the teacher logins haven't been created yet, but it's there. You just can't log in yet.
And
So
what I understand from what I've been told for e-learning is that even though if you are an e-learning teacher, you will be using Canvas as the students will be using Canvas as the landing port to get to Edgenuity. So
Yes.
even if you're e-learning, you still need to know Canvas and you still need to set up that homepage.
The only way to get to Edgenuity will be through Canvas for the students, and that's that link, the Edge courseware dashboard. Like they would literally have to log into your course and click Edge dashboard courseboard and then log in order to get to Edgenuity. There will be no other way for them to do it. There's like no website for them. Like that will be the only way for them to get to it.
So that's going to be helpful. So Realize is the science. That's your science textbooks. There is now, yay, for those of us who teach science and use Realize, Pearson. This is the direct link to their courses. So it does integrate now with Canvas. Again, that's content that your science SALs and coaches will be able to help you with. There's your iReady, Achieve 3000. I think McGraw-Hill is social studies and math.
And also high school science, high school biology, yeah, and some other sciences.
Essentially what's happening is they're moving everything from Clever into Canvas. So you're going to see as they get all of that stuff linked and uploaded, you're going to see more and more of these populate in here. And eventually you won't need to go to Clever anymore. You'll be able to go straight to Canvas.
Yes. So a lot of the single sign-on stuff. So if you can click it and it just signs the kids in, it'll probably eventually, if it talks to Canvas, it'll eventually end up here on Canvas, like Laura said, because all they have to do is click it and it will sign them into their account because they won't have to do any extra work because it's a single sign-on.
Right.
So which will be really nice.
Yeah, so other things, like I said, they're adding it. Now, Khan Academy, I'm curious because I didn't realize we were still using Khan Academy, so that'll be interesting. But you go down, there's Nearpod, which everybody has the basic version of it. You can use it. It's great. It's a great way, instead of doing a PowerPoint, they are doing now voiceovers where you can add the lessons in there and voice over it, so it can't be self-paced for our kiddos if they missed the class or if they need to review it. It's a self-paced. Office 365 class notebook is available. Algebraic Nation for those teaching algebra.
Well, and Algebra Nation is now Math Nation, so it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math.
Okay, there's a good thing to know. I didn't know that one. So all the other things is what we've gone over, people. This is where you can add people. We'll go over that in a few minutes. Pages, that's where if you had this open, they can, instead of going through links or hyperlinks, they can go directly to that page. Your files are where your students and you can upload information. If you give your students access, mainly it's for you to download, like you saw when Michelle showed her, all her files, all her pictures, all her papers, everything in there. Outcomes, I forget what outcomes are.
I don't think I've ever used it, but I think it's
What
just
does it
student
say
data.
underneath it?
Yeah, I
What
think
does
it's
it
student
write
data.
Could be. We'll see.
It says page just, oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything when you click on it, so
Hover right over the word outcomes.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive it's like student data from like their work
Yeah, I
that they
think
do in
so.
class. Yeah.
Usually it tells you.
Let's see.
Christine, can you go back real quick and show them how you got to navigation?
Okay. So
And then
I started at dashboard. I clicked on my course. So that's my sandbox course.
So now this is course level navigation versus the far left is global navigation.
So this is global, this is course, and I scrolled all the way down to settings. When I click on the settings, I'm given the various tabs. So right now we're on the navigational tab of settings.
And then show them again how to move them.
So you just click and drag and let go. And then the three little buttons on the side, you can enable it and you can move it. I prefer the click and drag model. Gives me more power. And then when you are done with what you want your students to have access to, you just click save.
Yes, please don't forget to click save.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
It will not save and it will default back to whatever you had before.
Last time. So after you hit save, get into the habit of clicking student view.
Can you show that one more time on hiding the things in the navigation, Christina?
Absolutely. Let me leave student view.
And student view is only an option if you're on home or you're on settings.
Yes.
Correct. So I am going to, let's see, let me find something that I have. I don't even know if I have modules. So I'm going to find my modules. I'm going to click and drag it all the way up and plop it in. And then I'm going to make sure, I'm just going to enable it to make, well, I don't know what happened. For all of you, you have all of these above the curtain. So if you want to see them disappear, you need to drag and drop them down.
Yep, and it'll tell you right there, drag them down underneath that if you want to hide them from students. So if you
Correct.
want them to see it, put it up top. If you don't want to see it, drag it below those words where it says drag
Right.
items here.
So I'm going to pull the school one up there too. All right, so then you're going to save. Remember, always save. I know for me, I got in a habit of using Microsoft Word and Google. It automatically saved for me. So I have had to get back into the habit of hitting the saved button. Once you've saved what you wanted, get into the habit of clicking student view. And now you can see that what I had hidden before is now open for my students to look at. Make sense? When you are done and you see, yes, this is what I want them to have access to, leave student view. Go back to settings. And you can go on to your next tab. Your next tab is your application tab. Currently, it is not recommended or possible to add all these other wonderful little doodads that they have.
Some of them are paid,
Yes.
so you wouldn't want to anyway.
No, and and of course, if you're in Australia, these are badging. So what a badge, the badging system is if you took the Canvas online and even the Canvas self-paced course, at the end of every course or after every assignment, you could be awarded a badge. And my daughter's right beside me, she just groaned. Back when Canvas first started, it was like the thing to do is collect badges. We would have competitions in Canvas and in the schools of how many badges can you earn? And then we would actually, at my school that I used to work at, we would then make physical badges and we would plop them all over the teachers' walls as they walked in as a brag sheet. So I don't know if Hillsborough is going to embrace badges, but it's something if you are looking for ways to excite your kids, get them involved as an incentive to do their work, you can incorporate badges. Again, another lesson on that one.
Right.
Sorry guys, as I hate to say that, it's like, I had another assignment, another lesson. So anyway, we go back up to the top. These are all of them if you look to see what's installed. So this is what Hillsborough County has approved or paid for to have on our.
And not necessarily paid for, they're the ones they approved because Nearpod's on there and not every place has Nearpod paid for.
Well, Nearpod's free.
Well, there's a free Nearpod and then like some schools pay for like separate Nearpod stuff, but like it's the free Nearpod.
It's right. And so everything on here, yes. So everything on here is going to be the basic free version. Like you only can do like minor things on it. Flipgrid is free. There's no paid involved whatsoever. Edpuzzle is free, but you can upgrade to more teacher privileges. But the free version is just fine. There's your Office 365 that's already integrated. Students all have email. Students all have their own clouds, their own OneDrives. So back in the day, we used to put on our supply list, bring a flash drive. There's no need for a flash drive. They can upload everything to the cloud. There's your Myon. I guess that's your book, your library. Pearson MyLab, not quite sure what that is, but you can check to see what all these different things are. And these are most likely your textbooks also.
And right now,
and Pearson MyLab is a textbook.
they're still working on embedding all of this stuff. When we get to the training on the modules, when you're on like an assignment page or just a page with content, you can directly embed from these, but not all of them are connected yet. But they're working on it. Eventually, you will be able to directly embed anything from any of these directly into your content in Canvas.
And then it can show up in your speed grader when you are ready to grade stuff right in your grade book.
That is correct. So that's your apps. You can play around with them, see what it is. Remember that you can't do anything. You can't kill Canvas, so your sandbox will live regardless of what you do. You'll just get you might just get an error message. And the last tab is your feature options. This is where you can control what your students do, everything that goes on in the book. So you have under the EPUB learning, this allows you to generate EPUBs. EPUBs are your electronic publications that allow your students to write on them. So PDF files, it allows them to write on them. The Learning Master Rebook, check to see how they're doing. This is great if you are a standard-based teacher and you're looking for, did they master it versus over A. A lot of teachers are going to that standard-based grading, and this is where you can incorporate that standard-based grading into your grade book. Students learning, this is a way for the students to do what the teachers are doing. It's awesome. And again, if you're into student-based standard-based grading, this gives a lot of student ownership, because if you're grading this way, a student might say, I'm actually a 4, not a 3, and they can justify it and have a conversation with you. This allows, you can have anonymous instructions. I blocked this one out because I want them to know, if I'm sharing the course with a teacher, I want them to know who's doing it. Obviously, final grade override. We don't need to really worry about this one because our final grades are being put into EDSB. So, but if this is something you want the kiddos to know, like it was a 96 or a 89.6, and you want to upgrade, you want to go ahead and let the kids know that you definitely gave them an a 90, you can do that there. Grade books are sortable by last name, first name, but you can change it to be first name, last name by their lunch numbers. But I don't know my students by their lunch numbers. I mostly know them by their last name or first names, depending upon how much I love them.
And once you get into the grade book, you can actually sort within the grade book a whole bunch of different ways for grading purposes.
Correct. So this allows the course images to be assigned for cards. That's what we did on the first page where we made the skeleton. This allows that. The pathways. This is great for scaffolding. If you are in elementary school, 6th grade, where you have a blended classroom of for anybody with e-learners or ESC, or if you have gifted students in there, you can give pathways specifically to those students. They will know. So if I have a gifted student, they're obviously going to have gifted assignments that my regular students are not going to need to have. Only my gifted students will see those pathways.
And you can also, when you're creating any given assignment, you can also assign it to only specific groups of students.
Correct.
So that's another place that you can control that.
The external collaboration tool, this will allow you to bring in Office 365, if you use Google, various external tools that we use for collaborating.
Those were all those tools you just saw on that last page.
Thank you. New quizzes. For you, they're the quizzes. For people who have been using quizzes for a while, there was an old basic, I'll call it EDSB quiz-like feature. Now the features for new quizzes is game-changing. You can there are so many different options for a quiz. It's no longer just multiple choice. You have multiple options. I'm sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Multiple options of how you want to distribute your assessments. We always, you always had open-ended, multiple choice, true and false. Now there is matching, fill in the blanks. I mean, it's
Multiple fill in the blanks.
multiple fill in the blanks, and you can have it graded that way. The idea is that whether you are face-to-face or e-learning, there's no reason for a student not to be able to take an assessment if you've put it in there. I've been working on taking the common assessments from our science and uploading them into these for probably myself, but hopefully
You can create question banks as well within new quizzes. But
Yes.
again, a whole nother training.
Yep. All right.
So I think we're at
Yeah, we got about
7:47 just to
15 more minutes.
put it up there. And I know Rob and Paula have been pulling questions also and like kind of compiling frequently asked questions. So we may want to also have some Q&A at the end too.
All right, I'll make it really quick for my elementary. When we were saying, how does this look for elementary? All of my elementary friends, if you come down here and you can swap that button, it will change the fonts and the interface in the Canvas to make it more little people friendly.
Yes.
So that's a good one for you if you are elementary or you're teaching access or a large group of ESE kiddos. It just makes it more simple for them. So everything else is pretty self-explanatory, but we can, when we go further into it, we can go over it. And then at the very, you don't have to change these to save them, it automatically does it.
Ladies, I just want to say that you guys have been doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I'm looking through the questions. You guys are hitting them as they're populating. I have not even been able to master that trick when I do member Zooms. I'm a one-trick pony, or I'm not a multitasker. I'm a single tasker. So you guys have been doing a great job. I don't think there's any questions that I see that you haven't quite hit as I'm scrolling through the 520 of them, because you guys have been going through them as they come up. To answer a question from some of the members, that we are going to have this again, and an opportunity to have you guys kind of Sherpa us up the mountain of Canvas. And we appreciate your going slowly, showing us what we need to do. I know that there'll be some that are here tonight that are going to want to come back, and others that are already all set. So to answer the question about when we're going to do this again, I'm going to work with the ladies and we'll figure out another date. But I want to thank everyone for coming tonight for our Canvas training. And then once we get through the intro to Canvas, we will definitely talk about some deeper courses to get into Pandora's box a little bit further to find out what's in there. But I know that as a classroom teacher, I would want to have this type of support, so that way I want to be more of an expert with it before I really start doing it with the students and certainly with the parents. So Michelle, Tina, Laura, thank you so much for everything you've done for us tonight. Members, thank you again for being here. We do plan to have a member Zoom on Thursday night for those of you that would be looking forward to a member Zoom with Q&A with Stephanie and I. So look forward for a link for that. And then we will also let you guys know when we'll be doing Canvas training again. Keep washing your hands, be safe. We are still fighting for you guys, and we're still working on the school board and all those other things that are going on. It never ends right now, but we have your back. So thank you again for being here, and be safe, everyone.
We did have a couple of last minute questions that popped in. One of them that was kind of coming up before was about always creating in the sandbox. Right now, that's all you have. That's the only place you have to create. Yes. So that's where you're going to create. Later on, once you have your courses, personally, I would create right in my course. Then yes. I don't have to move it anywhere. Yes. I don't have to publish it until I'm ready.
Correct. I totally 100% agree. Since you just have a sandbox, it's playground. That's what I look at it as.
And then next year, you won't have to do it over again because you'll already have your course, and then you can just keep importing. And so it's a lot of work on the front end to kind of build this stuff. But once you have it, all you have to do from year to year is just keep importing it over to your new set of classes, and then you literally never have to do all that work again unless you start teaching something new. Then you might use the shell of something else, but you will already have, you can just import
And
over.
all those things you already have in terms of PowerPoints and documents and all those other things, you're going to be able to load them all up into Canvas. So now it's just going to be all organized into a course for you, and you're going to be able to use it from year to year. We did have one other unanswered question. I'm having difficulty importing from the Commons, and I am unable to star my sandbox.
I think I answered that one, but I'll also answer it out loud. I sent it, but I'll answer it out loud too. So to start your sandbox, you want to go to courses in your global navigation. So over on the far left, you want to click courses, and then you want to view all courses. So click courses and then click the button that says all courses. Next to your sandbox, you'll see a little star. Go ahead and click that. So that's how you would star your sandbox. So global navigation, click courses, then click the link that says all courses, and then find your sandbox in the list and put a star next to your sandbox, and just click the star next to your sandbox in the list. As far as downloading from the Commons, I've seen a couple questions. I was trying to type, but I couldn't type fast enough. So as far as downloading from the Commons, if you still don't see what you downloaded, try refreshing, because that sometimes works for me. If I just hit refresh, it'll pop up. If it still doesn't pop up, you can try downloading it again, and that will sometimes work. If you aren't able to download, remember that, so once you're in the Commons, you click on whatever it is that you want to grab from the Commons. So click on it. And then once you're in that course, there's a blue button that says import. You're going to click the blue button. Then next to your sandbox, there's a little box. You're going to click on the box to select it for your sandbox. And then you're going to click the blue button again down below to import, and then you should get a green message that says that it's being imported. So again, in the Commons, you're going to click on the thing you want to grab, and then you're going to click the blue button that says import. And then after you click the blue button that says import, you're going to click the box next to your sandbox, and then click the blue button again that says import, and then that should pop it into your sandbox. It may take a little bit because it may have to, like, it's downloading. And again, if you hit refresh, it should be fine, or you can always just re-download it into your sandbox.
And if it ends up showing up twice, you can delete one. It's no big deal.
Exactly.
This is a little bit of poop on it, please. Blood too.
All right, I think I got. I
Rob,
think we
there's
got
some
all of them.
questions for you about PD points and evaluations.
Yes, yes.
We will collect all the names here tonight, and we will make sure that you guys are getting PD points. We do have this recorded. We will share it with members. You won't get points if you watch the recording. Those that I have that are listed here that have been participants will get their points through the PDS system or whatever they're going to be using.
There is a little problem with that. Some of you guys are not on under names that we can identify. So I don't know if you were in here under some name other than your own, or some made up name, if you'll email me what that name was and who you are. This is
Paula, would it help if they type their names in the questions?
No, a lot of people have already left.
I was going to say a lot of people have left. Yep.
But we do have the list, and we do have the recording, so we should be able to do that. But I see that most people there listed by their names, and we'll double check that.
There were a couple that said Samsung, so
yeah,
I know that
there were
guy.
a couple that were just
And
initials.
we had an
or things
anonymous
like that.
attendee.
yeah.
Yeah. So if
Sam-
you
That's a lot of
Apple
questions.
have
both
some
members.
other name other than your own, please let me know who you are.
With that, let me wish everybody a safe rest of the week. Thank you, ladies, again. Thank you, Paula, for being here, and be safe, everyone.